our savior.
All
play
right,
you
now
when
I
I see.
click the right button. Now we are live, and we'll start all over again. Thank you, everyone who is here. We are doing Baelnorn and Friends. We just went live to ourselves and didn't actually talk to you, the audience. Have fixed that. I apologize for the late start. So this Baelnorn and Friends, we're going to be talking about NLCC, Northern Lights Coronation Campout Spring. It happened last week. All of us were in attendance. We have one of the co-crats here. If you wave, please. And we had the Warcrat over there. Yeah, there we go. They're all new to the stream. They have not been on the stream before. If they could introduce themselves, I would appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Gallie. I'm from Greenwood Keep in the Northern Lights.
Hi, I'm Lenolin from Dragon's Forge and Black Spider.
Hey, I'm Oso. My home park is Silver Moon in Salem, Oregon, and Blackspire.
He forgot he's the Hogmaster.
Hogmaster Oso.
Oh, I forgot to introduce your job titles. My bad. We got the Hogmaster with the back porch down there, and the Canadian beard man himself.
For that, my name is Squire Thane Thone Runebeard. So I hail from the barony of Riverwatch within the Kingdom of Verdun Outlands. In the Canadian side.
Canadian!
And if we do run out of NLC talk, we will end up probably talking about knighthood, because Oso has been recently announced to going to be elevated to what were the belts you're going to be elevated to?
I'm going to be elevated into Battle, Crown, and Serpent. And
that's going to be at Harborpalooza.
It's going to be at Harborpalooza, brand new event, July 12th through 14th.
Yeah, and we'll get into that for sure. But first, I want to talk to Gallie, since she is the co-crat. I was hoping she could give us a rundown of the event. This is also her first time running an event.
So something to note about the event, I'll just get right into it. 3 months. That's what we were given. Hayden and I were approached about 3 months before the event started due to unforeseen circumstances and needed to take over the event. And when we were taking over the event, there was a basic plan for the event, but there wasn't much more than that. And the basic plan was like, okay, this is Amtgard. We got to do more than that. Was the first thing I thought when I saw the bid. And we immediately pulled in Lenolin at that point, this guy right here, to handle the warfield, because we knew he had his outstretches everywhere and who, what, and what crap teams to pull together, or people to pull together for running games. So immediately that was kind of our first executive decision, and we were really excited about this event. It went extremely well. 357 in attendance, 203 prepays, which was insanely awesome. And one of our main goals with this event was something for everyone, because throughout the year I was already taking a lot of polls for what I planned to do this summer as regent, and a lot of the things that people really wanted to see return was roleplay. So how we wanted to do that was in such a way that was inviting and immersive for people, and in such a way that if you don't want to RP, you didn't feel forced to have to do so. So that was kind of our main goal for the event, is finding activities for everyone, between having 3 ANS competitions, having the live active RP and bounty boards, plus the bountiful amount of games that Lenolin was running, and having a tournament running a ton of tournaments. So that was our main goal, and I think we succeeded in that pretty well as a team.
Yeah, I think so too. Although I was really busy doing content creation stuff during the event, I didn't hear anyone really have any complaints, which is nice. And everyone seemed to have a really good time.
From what I gathered, yeah. I mean, most of the event I was hobbling everywhere. So.
Oh, yes. I'm going to ask that story a little bit later. But yes, Lenolin?
There were a couple of things that the event overall went really well for the Warcrat side. We can get into that more later, but the only thing that I wish I had remembered was to bring the water bottles on time on Friday. I forgot when I went to the store and got coffee.
Oh, yeah. That happens. It's not an event if, something doesn't get misplaced or something like that. Even if it's just something minor like water bottles, it happens to everyone.
Nobody died.
No one died.
Like that was fun, but, it happens.
It's
Wi-Fi, hopefully.
100%.
Runebeard, you were the only one that was not really doing anything, I guess, like as a job, because Osa was the Hogmaster, grilling the whole entire time he was there. There's even a memorial for them, as far as I understand. But so, what did you think as just a participant of this event?
It was great. I've been to a few NLCCs, whether spring or fall at this point, and it was a ton of fun. I can't say anything more than it was just the best event I've been to this year. I wish every Amtgard event could be like this. It had so many different elements and aspects to our game within it that I love to see. Not every event you go to, you see a literal merchant's row. That was so cool. And see it interact with people, but the game was super awesome. And my personal bias, I just came off of a year of doing a term as king. Being able to not have something to do, I could actually enjoy this event and have a good time. And yeah, you guys provided an excellent experience between the roleplay shenanigans, the tournaments, the battle gaming. It was just so much fun. I can't wait to see all the footage that has been recorded drop as well. There's some drone footage. That's super rad.
I will send you a link to that. I have that footage already. Yeah.
Sick. I can't wait. Yeah. Overall, great time. And whatever may have been, fires of any sort, either I didn't hear of them or they were so small that they really didn't matter.
Part of running an event is keeping those things on the down low, let me tell you. So it's to see it.
I will say
now, and it is, that is the biggest struggle, is making sure that things are dealt with and handled in a neatly fashion, because those can break events, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you guys did a stellar job.
Thank you. Could have done without them.
I will say it. I've been a Krat now on about 9 different teams. I've been the War Krat. This is actually my 9th time being War Krat. And as far as the event goes, especially for it being the last 90 days before we actually had to host it all, the roleplay went over well, and I thought that the Merchants Row was probably the biggest thing that I saw a glow up in of any time I've seen it.
That was I agree.
Yeah, that was astonishing. That because the way, I don't know how you guys did it or the way you guys managed it, but Merchants Rows have been dying at our events, at least in the Northwest. And it was really nice to see a full Merchants Row come up and actually have, what was it, total 9 vendors?
14.
Yeah, that's quite
and I will give that sole credit to Pyro and Rowan as a team, because those two are passionate about merchants and passionate about expanding other people's crafts. So there was no selfishness. It just was what can we do to make the event bigger? And I think that extremely to those two, because there was just no selfishness. It was all about the event and bringing more merchants and more people to that area and expanding crafts. The coolest part, and I don't mean to interject here, that I loved about Merchants Row is I got to, as somebody who's really heavily in the regent side of things within our kingdom, got to see crafts created by people I've never seen before and things I had no idea existed within our kingdom and outside the borders of our kingdom. So to me, Merchants Row was just like an extravaganza. Plus, it was a place I could make it to often, so I was there a lot. But that was candy.
The little spider beadwork things were so cool.
Right.
Yeah, not something I never expected, but I'm just that's actually really sweet.
But
those acorn houses.
Yeah, we have one. I don't know where it is. We've got one of the pinehorn pouches.
Pine thorns, yeah.
The axe magnets, those are cool.
Long day, lots of fighting at park today.
Oh, I will also say, did you guys charge them gate or a vendor fee, or is it just
They just had regular gate. That was it.
That's honestly the way to go.
No. We're considering a prize fund next time. I'm currently, little spoiler here, I'm currently writing a bid with somebody right now for next NLCC Spring. So I'm going in as their co-krat so I can teach them and guide them, but mostly will be hands off, but I'm going to be there as support.
I think I actually might be on that bid as an assistant.
I believe you are, yes.
Yeah.
Also, whoever planned the porch, but oh my god, there was some really good meat out there.
I'm jealous. The porch was right outside of my quarantine zone, and I never went out there.
No. I sadly only made it out there 3 times, but every time it was so good.
I should have hobbled out there. I just didn't.
is worth for the meats.
So,
Yeah. The porch is the territory of the ass clowns. It is planned by us doing bits. And
All I know is I heard laughter from my room, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Always good.
I will say though, Gally, that's the way honestly it should be. A lot of times, I mean, if you guys have too many vendors, then maybe a fee, but just charging them gate is good because they don't have a circulation of people, really.
What the vendors want to do too, I've been talking to them about it, is they do want to be, they say, hey, you charge us $15 a head to be there. Let's put that in the prize fund so we have some really dope prizes. So that's really what they're all talking about right now is, yeah, we'll pay $15 if it means we can get really epic prizes for the winners of tournaments and stuff. So that's what they want to do, is just turn that around back into the event to give something to profit the event more and make the event more.
I just like that you actually included them in the conversation. Like actually, instead of just deciding on your own in a vacuum, bringing them all in and saying, hey, how should we do this? Let's go.
I think that's super important. I know that definitely also rebuilding the community aspect of having that vendors row, I think is such a huge thing. We're trying to build it up here ever more, and I would love to steal some of your guys' thoughts and ideas, because the more I can gate, the better. So far, what we've been doing is basically voiding their gate fee and just requesting a donation.
One of the biggest things too is like reminding them that they can take a break. So we had security teams and stuff like that, so that way they could go leave and their stuff would be safe. So that's a big thing, is making sure you let them know that there's going to be 24-hour day, the whole time, start to finish. We had surveillance even there at night. And I think that's an important thing, is making sure their stuff is protected. So that way, say if they want to go enjoy a battle game, they want to go enjoy a tournament, they can leave their site and go do those things and not worry about their stuff. Another thing about that is honestly giving them that communal support beforehand, because those vendors are creators. Most of them don't just buy their stuff, they create it themselves. So they get to that crunch just like our award makers do. So letting them know, you've got this. Hey, how are those projects going? How are those things going that you need support with? Do you need to just vent to somebody because something might not be sewing together right? So giving that support of like, you got this, I think is what's really important, and encouraging them that they're going to do great. Like, those are my biggest advice, is just be there, be supportive.
I'll steal you for a little bit later too.
I'm always here for you.
More of this off stream too.
And that's, I think, great advice for any part of the team, is just to be there to support them, not just the merchants, but I think one of the big jobs is, Krat, and I'll let you weigh on this too, is pre-planning. Of course, get everything planned out, but once you're actually there, is to be there to support each person in their roles rather than expecting to take over for them. You have to, obviously, sometimes, but to be supportive and to be make sure the lines of communication are open, make sure that any problems are squashed before they happen.
I will also say that this guy, for me, he's right here. I don't know where the rest is, but Baelnorn also has run his own camp, has actually invented his own camp out and ran, I think, 4 or 5 of them himself. 5, yeah. And that's not the same. Yeah, you're a master smith, and that's just the context that's coming from.
Oh yeah, I've ran things. I've been in this game for so long, I sometimes forget that I haven't done certain things for a couple years. So the turnover in Amtgard is so high that some people just don't know the things that I've done in the game. So I guess thanks for pointing that out, because it's a pandemic.
Well, the biggest thing that you, and this is my opinion, besides the fact that you made your own event, which is just crazy compared to a lot of what people are doing nowadays, but that you also had one of the most immersive roleplay campouts. Because back then, we just pretty much battle game a ton, and Quest, which those are still fine and fun, and I honestly enjoy them by preference. But it doesn't leave that the avenue as open. So having non-combat and combat roleplay means that people can interact. I have a person in my park, level 6 bard, but they have 2 messed up knees and a messed up back. They can't field. They still know all of their spell list. And they played one game where they lawn shared bard, which is really hard to do, but battery, you bought lawn shared bard. And so when we have quest days that can interact with non-combat or middling combat like Pink Sash, it means a lot. And so, just wanted to mention it.
I'm going to mention this thing too.
You might even know her too.
Ideas from you as well, and maybe also poke Baelnorn's brain a little bit about more Quest ERP style focused things. That's actually our Omens event. Previously used to be more of the Amtgard style We're going on to year 3 of it being a full-fledged. The goal is immersion RP, and that's it. There's no tournament, there's no battle gaming. It's just you come and do quests for the entire weekend with an overarching story for combattee and non-combattee. So I'm definitely going to take some lessons learned from NLCC of what you guys did as well and bring that to our event, because I want to grow that culture of like you don't have to be a combattee to participate in our game.
Mm-hmm. That's cool too. Yeah. Because like Amtgard's for everyone. It's in the name. And I think like the big thing with that is consent. Like people come to events for a specific thing. So if you're doing a full immersion event, people are going to know that when they hit the gate. We know what NLCC is known for its tournaments and its battle games. So it was a little nerve-wracking, honestly, interjecting the RP in at first. I didn't know if it would lose me people or gain me people. But all I could think of was consent. When you have to merge those two, because some people really just don't want it. And respect. So that's my biggest advice, is just respect.
Totally. And, I've definitely noticed, like, I think a lot of people don't realize they like it until they try it. And then they fall in love with it. Right. I will say my favorite story from the event, if you guys don't mind me telling this, because it's about RP.
Please do.
My favorite story from this event is I'm in the hall, right? And if you guys all know Raph, he's a pretty stick jockey guy, right? He's just gloating. He's laughing. I'm like, what are you laughing so hard about? He's like, dude, I just got involved in the best RP scenario ever. I was like, what's going on? He's like, Sweet Chunk just paid me to lure out his bounty. It was great. And just this pure joy, the fact that he had this plastic gold in his hand because he lured somebody out so that way Sweet Chunk could kill them. The pure joy in this like really stick-heavy person getting involved in this RP scenario made my entire weekend. Like just that 1 5-minute conversation just glowed.
Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but I apparently had a very large bounty on my head. But because I was the game runner, I was reading most of the time. So I always had a reef section on, and there's this thing where you couldn't go up and kill people that were reeves, and you can't, or at least it's assumed, right? So I was just mobbing up, waiting for me to take the reef sash off. So there I am at the end of the night. We're about to switch over to just ditching, and so you don't need a sash while ditching. So I get ready to take it off, and I see 5 barbarians, 2 assassins, a scout, and some guy just wielding a greatsword. There's no sash, so he was just kind of chilling, but just start mobbing up as soon as I took it off. And I'm like, I'm not thinking anything of it because I'm just like, this is just the field. That's just buckrat. But they're moving. They're moving at a good pace, and I'm like, maybe they're doing some role play stuff with each other. And then I realized that all 7 of them have their eyes locked on me, and I'm like, oh no. And I had a good amount of money on my head apparently. They didn't catch me, but I did not want to. I put the research back on and went over and started ditching. I'm like, yeah.
No.
Oh.
Not tonight.
No. I was all for it, but at the same time, I also was not. I was not mentally there at that point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die now.
Yeah, but Raph ended up killing me. He ended up coming up to me after the ditch, and I took the sash off and I was just chilling. He's like, step. So he's the one who got the claim. It was Raph. Raph killed me. He was up and stabbed me in the back during a joke, as a joke, and said, "Oh, okay, I'll take the bounty." Yeah, that's the same guy.
Good stuff. The stories I keep hearing is just fantastic. Every time I hear something, it's new and it's great.
I just laughed at the 7 people mobbed up to me the minute I took the sash off.
I remember when my bounty was finally claimed. I had come out and I was hobbling around, and somebody comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, Galley," and I was like, "Step into the shadows." Look down. I did not have my sash on, and I was like,
"Oh no,
I'm just a peasant." Oh no.
So it was funny. Someone tried to poison my meal. Right. Actually, this is your partner.
Right.
Your partner tried to poison my meal, but it just so happened that my meal was on a double plate.
Ooh.
So it was in 2. Instead of being in 1 basket, it was in 2. And so I just took out the first basket and looked at the poison basket like. And walked away.
So I don't know if anybody got to see it during. I think it was the final night's court. somebody, I think it was Ren, gave her like a black dot and just was like, now you're poisoned. You've got poison. She's just like, I don't know what to do. Now I can't drink my drink. I can't do this. I'm just like, go start giving out high fives. You just need to look on people's faces when they like go to give a good high five, and they're like, "Wait, there's a black dot."
The black dot.
People.
I gave hugs of death last night. Everybody wants to give Gally hugs, so hugs of death. I had it right here under my bracelet. I had a black dot. I just hug people and like tap them in the back.
Who's kill assassinate?
What was it? I think we sent her off to go see how many warlords she could get, and one of the best reactions was Ormus, because he was like ready to go in. He's just like, the look of betrayal in his eyes was palpable. See, true betrayal.
But like, you know what's cool about stuff like that is we didn't have written in the rules anywhere that a black dot meant assassination. That's just something people made up forever ago.
And it just like.
I mean, how long have you been hearing that black dot equals assassination? I'm pretty sure it's been around for a while, right?
That was before I started playing.
Yeah.
So before 99. So yeah,
I know
it's
some
been a while.
yuck stickers. They're using that. Poison was Mr. Yuck stickers.
That's like he has a lot of interesting quotes, but one of my favorites from Nox is because barbarians used to have this herb that they get to do in was it V6, V7, and people would just throw grass at their face because they needed a prop of eating earth or eating grass, and so people would just throw grass at their face to do it. You didn't actually have to eat the grass. But one of my favorite comments was let barbarians graze.
People did eat the grass though.
For sure. So he eat it.
This is a bit of a sidetrack really quick, but V7 had a spell called Messenger.
Yep.
That was a spell?
Then you get to send someone over to talk to the enemy team and deliver a message without getting killed.
It's kind of like Song of Visit, I guess.
Yeah.
It is.
But what if you had a spell that lets you do that? Like you could enchant the messenger, and then they could run over and enchant the other person. Like I give you the ability to cast this, and if you die on the way, I lose the spell. Go. But yeah, no, that's cool.
Fantastic.
I just sent some of the photos from the event into the chat. But as far as the event goes from a Warcraft perspective, we only had one major issue occur. And I'm really happy with my team, which was Heron. I can't go with the whole team, but my immediate team was Heron. Sedge was one of our main Reeves, our fellow Canadian, and Will Drusk. They did a great job. Oh, and I can't forget Bailey, but his van died. Couldn't make it, but people loved his game. That'd be Gallimore.
Yeah.
But from a games perspective, normally Thursday is spent kind of like you treat it like a big park day. Then Friday's more of like a KLE, kind of like a bigger KLE. And then Saturday's where it really gets camp out, where it's actually like, yo, this is big. And that was that was not the case this time around. Friday was more like a camp out for once. Like the Friday afternoon games were as big as last Pack War for the Friday morning games, which is crazy to me. Sorry, for the Saturday morning games, which is crazy to me because that's like almost double the number of people who showed up. But yeah, anyways, Thursday was really good. We ran some pretty simple, straightforward games. I couldn't run two of the games that I had scheduled because too many people showed up for them. Because there are certain game mechanics, I'm sure you guys can back me. I mean, TJ's pretty experienced. You guys all played plenty of battle games, but you can't run certain mechanics when you've got too many people there. It doesn't work. As games get bigger, objectives need to get simpler. Because, what are the chances of mistranslation? But if you guys really like Heron is also a Master Smith, but Josh, that was his first major war, and he ran it. That was his first time running a war battle game. He did a really good job. The only incident we had was when a javelin got taken to the face, or rather right here, and a person had their tooth go through kind of through their lip.
Hmm.
It was a case of we did 2 weapons checks a day, and one person had forgot to bring their javelins to the weapons checks that day, and had just taken the javelin onto the field because they were putting armor on. It wasn't malicious; it was just negligence. But and it rained. It rained. You guys can all agree. It rained a ton. And what happens to open cell when it rains a ton? So it got soaked up. It threw a javelin, hit someone in the face, and it popped their lip a little bit.
I'll just say that is the most major incident we had at the event too. Like that was really cool as a med team to have such a large scale event and have 5 reports. That's it, and most of them were mine. That was a major
We
one.
also had so Upper Field had 11 volunteers that were non-Reeve, non-battle game volunteers. 5 of them were consistent through the entire weekend, and we had runners literally just running up and down to get stuff from cafeteria and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a really good time. Saturday, one of the things I really wish that site, and we're going to go through, and actually on April 27th, we're going to go back and we're actually going to fix the site issues. We're going to go over and actually re-flatten some of it to even it out.
Adding gravel.
Adding gravel as well as filling in the holes in the upper field.
Yeah, it's worth 8 credits if you go to help.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know.
I'm gonna come. Don't worry.
What's crazy about it though is it's like you guys as a community in Northern Lights have done such a good job in communicating with your site, maintaining it, and respecting it as a community. Because we just lost the Salem 4-H, but not because of anything we did, but because of they're selling the property. But we've had sites we've lost in the past just because 1 or 2 people who had nothing to do with the CRAT team made a mistake. And so you as a community up there have done a really good job with maintaining your site. And the fact that they're letting us go up there to help maintain the field in such a way that we care about, instead of just saying hard no, hard pass, is great.
I gotta elevate my foot, so I'm changing positions.
Oh, no problem.
Or as well, sit down. So
at least something you don't get with most like sports club style sites. I've been very lucky in one sense or another with most of the sites I've had as an autocrat. Is it sites that we've built up to become the site that we need, rather than going to a 4-H club or the equivalent of whatever that would be for us. Though I'm sure those sites normally they're very much just hands off. You rent out the site. That's all. So being able to put that communication and that environment with the site is huge.
I will say one of the site managers hung out with us at Gate like the whole time, and he wants to join Amtgard really bad. Like I've been texting. So he's just really excited about Amtgard and everything around it because he's done other LARPs, and he said, and I quote, "I have never seen a LARP this organized and going this well." So that was really cool to hear from somebody who's done LARPs in the past.
And you know what's even cooler too is like this is one of the biggest campouts I've ever been a crack for, and my 10th. This next time I'm doing, I'm actually also the war crack for the fall for the fall classic, or also known as informally as Blacklight. Blacklight War. It's such a good term, like Northern Lights, Blackfire, Blacklight. Come on. But we were paving the field, and our Saturday game had over 102 participants in it, albeit 5 of them were Reeves, 3 of them were counters, and 1 person was just running arrows as a page. But still, it was a lot of people participating. I will say that I'm really glad that we're fixing the field, because if we try to bring a war to that field, we're going to have to spread way out. Because I'm sure, as TJ and you guys could all say, is like wars suffer from communication and spreading out. So one of the biggest things that we need to do is really pull combatants all the way across the field for the actual Saturday, like last couple days or last game day. I mean. So
that's it. The way you did it spread out works really well. As somebody that was in the thick of it and playing a caster, I think maybe it's also a source of just a lot of really good communication from the player's side, but it went really smoothly. People seem to be really good at like taking and also helping people take spells.
So
We're just
on
people, right?
was that Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon?
Afternoon.
So I didn't fight on Saturday afternoon. I did what I call nut cracking. It's not like that. So a nut cracking reeve, as I call it, is a reeve that goes around and resolves the unresolvable disputes. Basically, there's a lot of going around, especially like for instance, there was like a really well-intentioned kid who was misinformed about how the abilities work and was using infinite step in the shadows and poison infinitely, and was using teleport out of step of the shadows and vanish from sight while in step of the shadows. Like he was doing whatever assassin dreams that they could do, and it really irritated a lot of people because they tried to stop and be the good person and communicate, but he didn't want to listen because he had been trained this way for a long period of time. And so situations like that, going around and resolving it or communicating or help figuring it out, or like, hey, I just took a death because this guy didn't realize we were in rules clarification. How many times has that happened? It's happened to everybody at least twice.
Actually, me conversation, I think, in one of the morning games about something like that.
Yeah, I only got to play. I only got to play sadly in one game block. There's a player in Northern Lights. One sec. Give me 1 second, guys.
Is she leaving?
So while they're talking to whoever they're talking to, also you gotta.
Actually, this is relevant. This is relevant. Joe, come on.
Oh, okay.
Come here, Paul. Come here. Come here.
Arrow.
Come here. Hey, Joe. Well, this is live. This is Pyro. He's my twin brother. He was also NLCC.
I know.
Arrows.
Every person in this Discord.
We're
live. We're on Baelnorn and Friends.
Okay.
So what were you saying?
Clarifying for calls, I've voluntarily taken death for a player who did not know that they were hit squarely in the back because they were wearing mean leather armor. And I wasn't doing anything important at the time. I was just playing a weaponless healer. And I went through the effort to actually trying to inform them of the rules, that they were hit by a arrow that had an effect. And they needed to be aware that it had happened. Because they just started fighting as if nothing happened, and they got stabbed as well.
Oh, yeah. So, thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
But basically, what nutcracking is a reeve, and then I'll let you go back onto what you're saying. We had about 22 minor resolution issues. Like, nutcracking doesn't necessarily mean you're always just, figuring out the answer, because you can't. A lot of it is like, hey, this happened. Well, that shouldn't have happened, so let's give you, you're still dead just because the way that this interaction is too far gone now, or stuff like that, or like, I've already killed 5 people when I fight up to death, and they've all back to base already. So you just go over and find those 5 people and be like, hey, half your death count, come back into this, don't lose that, and then move on. It's communicating in a meaningful way that is both fair to both teams, but also, I think, fair to the spirit of the game. I think that's the best way to put it.
Which really is what a reeve job is to do. It isn't to be perfect. It's to make sure that the flow of the game continues in a good way, right?
Yep.
Reeve will ever be perfect. Walker in the middle or Paragon Reeve. Even if you're that, you will just never be like perfect. It's so hard to. We have so many rules. We have so many potential things that could happen. So tracking or finding that middle ground where it's just working with players to make sure everybody feels better about an interaction is the best thing you can do. I know.
And because that's why I spent the entire war doing it and letting Drusk do his thing, is because his game looked concrete. It looked great on paper, and really the only things that I saw an issue would be the issues of warfields. Because we've all been there. Like, it might, as much as I'm very happy that last pack war went great overall, my biggest failure in Amtgard, I feel, was last pack war's war. That was awful. That was so awful.
Most pack war wars are not good. Don't feel bad about that.
Well, we had 200 people. So we had just under 300 people at the event. We had 200 people on the field, and the Salem 4-H Center did not mow the other half of the warfield, even though they told us that they did, and then they told us they didn't the week of. And part of it's because OSU didn't let them, but it's a whole thing for that. But
it doesn't sound like your fault.
No, it's not. But there's not a whole lot I could have done there. And we ended up canning the entire original idea, because you can't just let 200 people fight in 100 square feet. That's not.
Yeah, sounds like
that.
TJ, were you there at that? Sorry, Oso, were you there at that war? So you remember how big of a split war? Last pack war.
Yeah, I was there. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I kind of think that wars in general are usually not good. And it's because teams of sizes of like over 100 people are just unbelievably difficult to balance. And also, people have an expectation at wars that like they'll be allowed to play with their homies, and the like different fighting companies focus on different stuff, right? And like the ones that are more battle game heavies, like say in this region, Arcana or the Golden Lions, if you put that entire fighting company on a team, it's going to weigh that team super heavily, because it's just like pound for pound, everyone is a super sweaty battle gamer.
Well, and it's also the other issue with you have this thing as a Master Smith, I can tell you that the more people at a point, once you get over a certain number of people, yes, pound for pound it's heavier, but at a point you're only adding so much contribution per roll.
Yeah.
But it is true that people in fighting companies tend to aggregate towards a certain type of culture, and that type of culture, generally speaking, means that powerful players who stay in the game, who happen to gravitate towards a fighting company, fight with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Gary died.
You're right. Wars are not normally good, but I think going into them also realizing that they're not going to be good, so just going in to enjoy rather than be sweaty, tends to make them good, right?
Well, also if you look at the ROP, and Mr. Rules Clarification page over here could probably tell me more specifically.
Yeah.
Oh, this is also Black Spire's V9 rep, and he also helps with the Rules Clarification page. But it appears to me that the ROP is designed such that it's designed for the game to be one of each class fighting one of each class plus 2 or 3 floaters. It's designed to have the roles kind of out there, and for people to seek help when certain things hit and stuff like that. And so when you get to a war setting, when you have minimum, I think for a war for me is like 40 on 40. Individual prowess is less important, but the issue is if the average player on a side is way too good, then you're just going to see a swamp.
Yeah.
It's just going to turn into a meat grinder.
Yeah. Well, and there's also a coordination aspect, because yes, like individual skill is going to be generally less impactful, but also when you have groups, when you have big battle game heavy fighting companies that are all fighting together, they're generally just going to be a lot more coordinated than any like pickup group of, even if everyone's like the same skill level on another team.
Yeah, I mean
that matters a lot.
It's true.
I agree to a point. Yeah, because it's like toward 2021, we had what was it, Arcana on one team with Annihilus with it was 3 really stacked fighting companies against my holding Dragon's Forge.
I remember that.
as well as what was it? I forget the name of what was Torgersville Fighting Company's name? Black Company.
Black Company.
It was Dragon's Forge, Black Company, and like Stone Owls and a few other smaller companies all put together. But it was like the other team had like 7 Battle Masters, 2 Warlords, 22 Paragons, and like our team had like 7 Paragons and like 1 Warlord.
You stomped them, right?
Yeah, you destroyed them, right? Just truly bluely.
Yeah, I got a cool picture at that event with you guys, Lenolin. I think that's when we first like became friends. So
It also definitely showed like when you're in those games that are so large, having groups where people are used to each other makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
We went up to an event called Battle of the Dens up in Nine Blade, and like whether it was even just like groups of people that knew each other, or even being able to organize people into smaller groups where you can have organization, really makes a difference. I saw that this last weekend at NLCC, like um, you know, that Saturday afternoon game. I know, like I jumped in there and I was like, Dragons, you gonna do your stuff? You go do your stuff over there, and like gathered a few people. And as soon as we had that plan, we were working as a team. It ended up being easy, right? Not to say that we won every match or anything like that, but coordination goes a long way in these large games. It makes a huge difference. But yeah, they'll always be hard.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is this is all kind of just a landscape. For I looked at what a lot of the popular campouts do, and what they do is they spread it out like a large amount, making sure that there's multiple objectives. And so if you play any one front, you lose. And so the way it's designed is, or at least in those games, if you don't have if you don't have a diversified front, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like Keep, for instance, is really good at this. Like, you have 4 doors you have to break down, I believe, usually. And if you don't have a good team at each door, you're just going to get murked at one door. And then the enemy team will just swamp through, or in case of the defending game, they just win. And so I really like the idea of like what Keep does, which is they spread, of course they have a much bigger field of like 200 versus 200 or whatever the fuck, or whatever the heck, sorry.
Okay, PG-13, you got your one.
Everybody gets one, just like Spider-Man.
But
Essentially, though, is I would like to, personally, coming away from that pack war, the one that was really bad for the war, at least, really try to spread people out as far as I can if we're getting really high numbers like that. And that's why at this last event, the field was 250 feet from spawn to spawn. Usually I go within 100 feet for games less than 60 people, but I went 250 feet for the war, or for the final battle.
Definitely, it was super simple and it worked great. I know, being in the thick of it, everything was simple. It was easy to tell where people were going. I think that was a huge important thing. You stood back in the back of the battlefield watching what was going on. You could tell where everybody was. It was very simple to see where people were going. So 10 out of 10, appreciate that.
As a person who plays in wars, though, I don't like playing melee class unless it's monk. And even monk is not good for melee, like for big wars, because he's just so squishy in the middle of all these projectiles that can kill you.
It makes me overjoyed to hear that it went so well, because I didn't get to witness it, of course, and like hearing that was so awesome. I think my biggest turnaround from the event that was difficult for me is not being on the warfield very much. I went down and watched the Morrigan tournament. That's all I got a chance to really go see, and just even that experience was incredible. So just like the energies within the fighters down there and everything, and just watching the energies across the field, like I was like, wow, I missed a large factor of this event being up top so much. But it was definitely exciting to hear how well those games were structured, and the buzz that would come back up in the feast halls and the conversational areas, and people talking about how well structured the battlefield was. So if I haven't thanked you yet.
We also didn't get of course. We didn't get a really good shout out to a few of the walk-on events things that we did too.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a great turnout to a handful of them. Like we had a total of 5 tournaments. Alan did a good job announcing all of those at court, so I won't go back over them here. But we also had a impromptu archery competition. It wasn't like a competitive, like you get an award type of competition. You just got a prize of 5 arrows from Scythe. And we had an archery practice in the morning each morning, from Friday and Saturday. And the first player to get the best score in archery practice, once time was called for archery practice, got 5 free arrows from Scythe. So
Cool.
I think it was
And-
Bad Wolf that organized that, I believe.
Bad Wolf came
it was
to me
actually
3 days beforehand. It was like, it came to both of us and was like, can I do this? And we're like, you know what? We have a whole area not being used. Go for it. Go for it. And I just like, I guess it goes back to the autocrat thing, is I don't like to tell people no to begin with. Hi, I'm Gally. I hate saying no. So if people come to me with a genuine idea and want to follow it through, I usually will say yes. As long as there's space and availability for it. I'm all about that.
He's squishing your head.
So, also, did you get a chance to go to the battlefield at all? Because I know you're grilling and
Laughing
chilling all night or all day.
And talking about Animorphs.
God, some good combos.
I did. I think I played like 2 or 3, something like that.
what did you play?
I played Druid and Healer.
Oh, you brought back out that Druid, bro.
Well, so I have a new war pole, and I didn't really want to wear my steel because I thought, hey, there's a very good chance it will rain. So I did not. Instead of putting on gold sash, I put on brown sash. And,
Were you in the Saturday games as well? They're weirdly enough, it was big enough that I missed a handful of people that were just in the game with me.
It was Saturday games only because I showed up on Friday night.
Okay, yeah, same here. We showed up Friday like afternoon.
I have a lot of plans for time off this year, so I didn't take any time off for spring, and I just shot up after work on Friday.
Yeah.
Speaking of time off because of spring, did you have anything about Harborpalooza you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I mean, I figured that would be like a topic later, but
we got like 2 hours at least, so.
Yeah, because I have people waiting for me to teach them some stuff. So
yeah, Gally might, or we'll have to leave a little earlier, but we'll continue.
Yeah. Well, after Gally leaves, we can switch away from NLCC because Lenlin's a harbinger too, so we can switch to Harborpalooza then.
That's my birthday weekend, so spoil me and make sure. Hopefully, I'll get a fight. That's all I care about. This whole event, like I was jazzed to fight in the tournaments and like fight in the company battle with my company. I was like jazzed to do these things. Yeah, didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
So
the real struggle.
Yeah.
So, Beardy, what was your take on the games from a player perspective?
Yeah, definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah. So sadly, I didn't get to participate in obviously anything that was Thursday, or anything Friday. I pretty much only got to play in Saturday games. So I have that perspective. But as a player, tons of fun. Everything was very simple. And we had a bunch of really good players on the field. You were talking about like nut cracking earlier. I had a lot of players where if we had a interaction where it was weird, we were totally game with just like taking a step out, going to the side and talking about it. So I think that really helped made the experience really look good, as well as like players helping to let enemy players know that like spells have been done on them. I played a wizard all weekend, so I had to finger gun people a bunch. So it was from that perspective where spellcasting can be a problem, right? You have so many people around you that it's hard to cast, it's hard to do these things. It went really smoothly. There were a few interactions where it didn't go great, but I had a Reeve nearby to be able to help me with it. So at hand, there was always Reeves around, who were always gung-ho to help. And then all the games were very simple, and a ton of fun. Actually, one of the fun interactions that happened in one game, Sedge figured out how to break one of them a little bit.
Great.
It was one where you had to climb the tower.
Oh, was it the tower?
Yeah, so he
On Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, how it was explained, you could go to the top of it, and then I think you couldn't be targeted by spells. Yeah. So he just laid on the floor as a wizard, like completely prone, so he wouldn't get hit by arrows.
So, little side fact, I didn't make it a huge deal, but I actually am the writer of that game. So, like, I'm really excited to hear that somebody broke it in such a beautiful fashion. That makes me happy as a game player.
We go pro.
I'm doing that the next time we run it at Keep. Like, got to.
It was so much fun. I love doing stuff like that.
I'm not even mad about it getting broken if Sedge is laying prone, tummy down on the ground. That's plenty of entertaining for me.
That makes it all worth it. I love it when it's broken in creative ways that are hilarious like that. Like, you just, like, stare and you go, what just happened? Did they just... They did.
What's going on here?
Wait a minute. Anytime you stop me dead in the tracks in the field and make me tilt my head and go, huh? You have succeeded.
Oh, yeah.
From the voting perspective, I did a vote at the end of a few of the game blocks. And so far, the biggest vote, though, that everyone loved was Bailey's Valley of the River Giants game.
Oh, that sounded really fun.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Okay. For somebody that doesn't
was
remember any of the names, what did that one do?
sheep.
The sheep one. Yeah.
So, TJ. So TJ right here, so Osa right here is from Baelnorn's Park.
Yeah.
You've played this game before, but it with different rules.
But yeah,
So-
I've gotten to be the ball throwing guy. Yeah, it's a Silvermoon classic.
I did two things differently here, because unfortunately we had car trouble, so I ran the game. I didn't want to get rid of it because it's a great game. I did two things differently. Instead of dying, it sent you back to base for 5 seconds out of game, completely out of game, and it was engulfing to equipment and through everything. Obviously, no shield dropping, that crap. Yeah, and the Giants can only throw it once every 5 minutes, but we had because of Micah. I always get mixed up. Is Micah's his player name or is Mason?
Mason Stone.
Okay, it's because they're similar. So okay, Mason. Yeah, so Mason brought these boulder knitted sheep, and they're the size of an Amtgard boulder, and we used those for the throwing balls. And my two NPCs who walked on there they were just coming up with the battle game, and I was like, hey, I need 2 volunteers that would really like to roleplay being a hill giant throwing siege sheep. And one of the guys got so deep into it, for the rest of the event, he got called hill giant.
That's awesome.
Let's go.
I love those sheep.
Yeah.
They're also my emotional support sheep. Whenever I need them at events that Mike is there with me, he hands me the sheep and I hug it. So they're my emotional support sheep. Love those things.
Yeah, it was a favorite game of the entire event, by popular vote, and mostly because there was a lot of goofy role play. The effect wasn't game-breakingly overpowered, and it's got a really good self-balancing mechanic to the way that it's designed. So, good job, Bailey, or rather, Baelnorn, for coming up with that game.
That's awesome.
That was one of the games that I did miss out on, but I think Orla got to be in it. And it
Yeah,
sounded like it was so much
stole
fun.
the sheep afterwards.
Yeah.
Your partner stole the sheep.
Those
All
sheep
I
were
heard
so
was
much
buzz
fun.
about the sheep all weekend. Was sheep, 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 sheep. Where's the sheep, 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 sheep? And so I heard nothing but the sheep.
It's because so the joke was, and this is the way I picture that Baelnorn means it, is this is just like Skyrim. What happens when the giant hits you in Skyrim? What happens? You go, whoa. And so that's what happens. You get hit into the next plane of existence for 5 seconds.
Fantastic.
And you go back to your last save, aka base.
I love it. Absolutely.
And that was the role play of it. So there was a lot of like funny jokes where people were like, I have wares if you have coin, and they got hit by a sheep anyways.
I heard about somebody being launched in another plane of existence and then into another plane of existence. Like somehow, like when they were on their way back, they got hit again or something like that. I heard about that.
But two different both giants hit them with a sheep.
That's what it was. So they double locked it. I'm like, what am I missing down there? It was
Yeah, it
great.
was kind of funny. One of the guys kicked the sheep too, and I was like, "Well, sorry, you're back into a different universe." He's like, "What? But I just hit the sheep. Sorry, bro. You touched the sheep."
The sheep gone.
He's like,
It fits for the we have here is one of our sheep. It's a rock.
I want it.
That's good.
They're so for some reason, it's so fitting. Everybody's got the sheep. One of my favorite interactions of seeing the sheep fly during the day wasn't during that battle game, but another one. There are two barbarians on each side of the team, one being Orla. Another one, I don't know who they were, but as I'm casting at somebody, I'm looking to the side and I see a sheep go, hit the other barbarian's shield, and the barbarian picks it up and is like, throws it. I'm like casting out of the corner of my eye. I just see this sheep come flying through the air, and they're very squishy. It hits Orla in the face and like just squishes in, and I'm like, oh no.
One of my favorite responses. So what happens is whenever someone sees a sheep is they block it with their sword, right? And they go like this. But people, they inherently know that projectiles don't stop counting until they stop moving, right? So people will block and like try to punch out the projectile. But like, because it's so big, it'll still roll in and hit them in the torso. They go,
oh.
Sheep rap.
the slow realization.
Like, oh no.
I almost want to like do for like my bid like next year, just be like for an advertisement before the event if I win the bid, of course. Like it's just like get sheeped. NLCC Spring 2025. Get sheeped. Get sheeped. So they get good.
I will totally run. Well, his name is Louis Flameseeker. I'll run Cam's game of Peasants and Apples. He has this really good game where it's really good flavor. Where each team takes a turn being peasants trying to collect apples, and the other team's trying to not let them do that.
Can we throw sheep in them?
So, yeah, the peasants essentially tap in, and they have a certain number of lives, but they just tap in at base. And their whole goal is to score as many apples. And basically they take turns, and then it's actually a progressive game that instead of playing multiple rounds, each team plays one round twice, and then it goes to the next progression. You build a wagon. It's like you're supposed to basically trying to get to another town, but you could totally like make an entire like peasantry game out of
I was wanting to do peasant potatoes, like, gathering, like similar type of thing, but gathering the potatoes. Either they use it as a weapon or for feast. So, like, if they get overrun, like, the potatoes, of course, are throw-ins and light throwy weapons, but, like, have the potatoes be the gathering objects. I had a similar idea for something. Just gather the peasants' potatoes is what I was going to call it. And their only weapon really was potatoes. So, to defend themselves, they can only use the potatoes, but they also had to harvest enough to eat them by the end of the game. So, strategy of, like, are they going to use them as weapons, or are they going to keep them?
There was this guy at Western Wars last year that had a throwing table. Each of the legs was a projectile, and the center of it was a shield. See, there was Velcro to it. You just be like, so for battle, they're technically javelins or whatever. But he would basically just rip off one of the legs and throw it at you.
That's so good.
Was that the same one that was made for the barroom brawl style thing? I saw that pop up years ago. It was so cool.
So, little known fact, right now, the reason why my chaotic evil character is so prevalent right now and keeps coming back is because down in Mithril Hills, they had a brawl, like, last summer, and it ended up being, like, a whole tavern brawl, and Galleria got hit over the head with a mug and left for dead. So, currently, Rhea was resurrected by some crazy druid going, I want my crazy druid back. So my chaotic evil character, that's how I wreaked havoc on the whole kingdom when I was regent last time, is because they brought back and I pretended to be Gally the sweet innocent the whole time, but I was actually Rhea the assassin, because I got knocked out in a bar brawl down in Mithril Hills. And to this day, Flag down there is still trying to make amends to Galleria, and she's very, very mad because they used me as tug-of-war, as trying to loot me on each side of the bar brawl. Because I had the key. It happens.
The way.
I love good RP. I'm a sucker for it.
Right? It makes for the best of stories.
Yes.
It does.
I don't know if you guys heard about the anti-paladin war in Merchant's Row at this last event. It consisted of Sir Pyro and Luminary Galleria Aerofox in a full war of what was better, the paladin or the anti-paladin, and eventually Pyro converted me to be back to a paladin again. However, Galleria got jealous and envious before court and stole their holy symbol. So that's where we're at right now, is I'm back to an anti-paladin again.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because there's this guy in our kingdom named Turtle, and he got this relic called Exterminatus.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets him cast Doomsday once per game.
He's got to be Galleria's friend. I got to find him for this reign.
It's over now. Actually, no, he still has it until, May, whatever the relic quest is. But it's ambulant Doomsday that continues through deaths. He's never gotten it off except for one time, and it was in a warm-up game. And he's just chilling. He's like, "Yeah, don't count me. I'm just gonna sit here and count." And I'm like, "Okay." We didn't mind if they bounced him against a couple kids, and it was just 10-on-10, right? But it gets off, and everyone died because it's technically magical. It's technically death school. It doesn't have these terms, but we've added it to it because it just makes sense. So it just turns out to be these paladins fighting these monks, and immediately the monks just all drop into sanctuary.
Wait, hold on.
One golem. Yeah, it ends up just being this monks versus paladins. It's the only ones who can't die to it.
Definitely.
That reminded me of.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So how was your memorial?
Memorial breakfast. That was great. Okay, so for I guess viewers likely don't know this. Kind of, I guess you'd say like my clique or the people I hang out with at events. We graciously refer to ourselves as ass clowns and do a lot of bits, right? And so at NLCC Fall, I left at like 1 a.m. or something because I had something to do the next day. And, of course, I live 3 hours away. And on my way home, I got into a car accident, right? The next morning at NLCC, all of those people, my homies there, were just telling everyone that I died. I was in a car accident on the way home. Like Oso's no longer with us. He didn't make it home last night. Both of which are true statements. And so now, at the Saturday morning of events, we have the Oso Barrington Memorial Cereal Breakfast. And they really went out for it this year. Louis photoshopped made a shrine, really. Photoshopped a bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
Quite literally made a shrine. Photoshopped a bunch of pictures to, put me into them, to show my long and storied life, like when I was a beetle, I guess, etc. And
you were also a WWE wrestler.
Yes, I was Triple H specifically.
Triple L.
Yeah, pretty good one.
Why didn't he make you Rey Mysterio? That would have been so clever.
Oh, that would have been.
Yeah.
No one knows what his fucking face looks like.
Exactly.
Oh, that's you. I'm now man. I'm banned.
Yeah.
He's out.
Boom, Lenlen's gone.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
I'm not supposed to cringe.
But yeah, so he set up the shrine and a bunch of boxes of cereal, and we spent that morning kind of sitting around eating cereal, and then when anyone got too close to the back porch, us just being like, "Hey, get over here!" Just like egging them into coming over just to pay their respects at the shrine. Where they look at the shrine and they see, "In memory of Oso Barrington, gone too soon, forever in our hearts," with a picture of me, and then they look over and I'm just sitting there eating cereal.
yeah. Well, my favorite was when someone thought you were like legitimately dead, you'd walked away for a second, like he's a bath or something. And I was just sitting there eating cereal, and they were explaining this gag.
Yeah.
They didn't say it was a joke yet. Okay,
Gotcha.
They just see these poorly edited videos, like these Catholic candles, burnt sacrament candles, and they're sitting there, and the look on their face as they see you walking back from the bathroom, they're just like. Because they're just the way they're phrasing it is like, because they're still in the whole "he's dead" thing, like he died, and you're just walking back casually from the bathroom, and they just.
I will say this: like somebody said to me, "Wait, Oso died? What?" And they're just like, "Not really, though." And I'm just like, "Wait, what?"
Yes, I died like how Dogboy died. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Dogboy didn't get hit by his steel chair. Okay.
Yeah. This good camera from the top row. Yeah.
All right,
T-shirts.
Yeah, the T-shirts were so good.
So, questions for me, Baelnorn, or anything else you'd like me to talk about before I head out this evening?
Not specifically. No, it's been a good conversation.
It's been fun. Sorry, I have other obligations. Yeah,
That's
but
okay.
you know, it was really fun. So if you have any more questions for me, anybody can reach out anytime. So
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
It's fine.
The nerds.
All right, I'm gonna go to the nerds with everybody. We'll go give one video goodbye from all the nerds. How about that?
All right.
We'll just tape out the
Sounds like a good plan.
goodbye. Let's see if there's anybody in one room first. Sounds like they're all downstairs, but oh, there's some in here. So we'll say hi to this group of nerds first.
Hi, nerds. Hello. Hi, nerds.
So a bunch of nerds there.
Hi.
And now I'm gonna go down there and say hi to them.
When you're done, I need you.
I'm needed for intimidating.
What class are you going to teach?
Nerds down here. Hold on.
Yeah, what are you teaching?
I'm going to be working on some stuff for scroll work and stuff. And then down here, we got some nerds down here making some crafties. I'm about ready to get to hack with a hug. Gally. Hi, Gally. Hi. We got Baelnorn and Friends, so we got Lennel and some other people's. And also it's a live stream, so all those people too.
I'm so sick of my time.
What is it? We're supposed to ask, is this a large enough shield?
That's
No,
very large.
go bigger.
All right, then going this way now, taking everybody to say hello. Little ones. Hello, stream peoples. Hello.
That is a busy household.
Say hello. Look at that, my co-craft here. Oh,
What?
hi.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, hey.
Look at all the people.
So have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your conversation.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Subscribe.
Subscribe, yes, ring the bell.
Bye, guys.
So we didn't actually talk about what else Oso was doing out back, but he hand cranked 50 pounds of hog for this event. I'd like him to talk about that.
Yes, I figured we'd talk about that.
Talk about that.
A couple references to my hog has probably already happened, and that's probably also loses people. That's so. Okay, so Big Oso's hand cranked hogs. So basically, I'm a master dragon, and I peruse various arts, right? One of which is food. And recently, I got really into sausage making. Because sausage making is fun and challenging, and the kind of thing that makes me want to do it a lot. But I only have so much freezer space, so it's really not. So I saw NLCC as an opportunity. Think, hey, I could make just like a bunch of sausage right before for practice, and I could just bring up my grill and just make people sausages. And then my at arms Magenta got involved and handmade like 100 buns. And yeah, I made 50 pounds of sausage that week. I brought it up in a cooler. I got there Friday night, and we were out of hogs at like 5 p.m. on Saturday or so.
No, you did run out.
Yeah, I did run out. I sure did. Yes, Louis was a doubter. He said, "Oh, there's no way you'll go through 50 pounds of sausage." He was a fool. It didn't even last 24 hours. Yeah, but it was really fun. Also, the general rule wasn't like get in line or anything. It was just stand in my general vicinity, and I will eventually give you a sausage when I notice you.
I put the photos I took from that, by the way. I took a bunch of photos of that for you in the chat.
Sweet.
But I will say that I really enjoyed the whole Enchanted Eats setup. It made me feel a lot like when I first had Cormac and his Kilted Dwarf. Stuff like that where people feel like they can come together and get free food, or stuff like that is actually really important.
Yeah.
Especially for people like me. Like my first camp out, I didn't even know Cam. Louis. Previously known as Spoob, but now known as Louis.
There we go.
I never met him, and he came over and offered me food. I didn't even know. He just walks up, like, "Hey, you look hungry. You want some food?" And he gave me like naan bread and some hamburger beef for breakfast. And I didn't know anyone at that time. This is back in 2019 when nobody really knew me.
Yeah.
No, it is super rad to have something like that around. I honestly, like, I've been in the game since 2014, and I never really got to have that interaction until coming down stateside,
Yeah.
where it's just like people are just here to give you food. I think my first interaction was church camp. I went to like a Rosewood one year, and people were just like cooking food and giving it out, and I'm just like, I didn't know this existed.
Yeah. Well, so there are two things about it, right? One of which is just those hamburgers are hungry. So like I have what I commonly refer to as Amtgard food theory, which is the idea that everything tastes better at Amtgard, but like in a profound way. So I first discovered Amtgard food theory at Winter Bash 2023. The night after, or the morning after the vigil at Bernie's. When I was
Vigil at Bernie's.
when I was just kind of tired, and I was competing in the Dragon Master that morning, and I was making chicken and dumplings from scratch at a campfire, and Opie was with me, Opie Cunningham, Harbinger, and he made like some just bad mediocre black coffee, and he gave me a cup of coffee, and I forgot about it for like a half hour. So when I came back to it, it was like lukewarm, and I drank this lukewarm black coffee, and I was like, this is tolerable. And just like, wow, I don't even drink black coffee in my mundane life by choice ever, and it's not my thing, and let alone like drinking it like lukewarm. But at that moment, I was like, this is fine. Yeah. It's because you accept that this is your life right now.
You're not going to get anything different.
Yeah, I'm not going to get anything different. This is what I've got. And, but I think, so while that applies to unpleasant food and making it tolerable, it also applies to great food and making it amazing, right? So, like, food that is really good, like nice handmade stuff at Amtgard is just like instantly elevated to amazing. Like I had I didn't eat very many sausages when I was there, like maybe 3 or 4, and I had one of my bratwurst in like the very last round of sausage. I took a bite of it, and I was just like, wow, this is the greatest sausage experience of my life right now. And it's because of Amtgard food theory. It's because I'm here at NLCC, and I can either wait in line for feast, or I can eat my delicious hand-cranked hog right now, and I'm choosing that.
I gotta say, as somebody who's been cooking for the last 15 years and running restaurants, and you killed it on the hog. I didn't get to try all the different flavors, but the one I did, it was so good. You don't have good food like that very often.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I'm all about the good food. And also sausage is just fun because like for say like commercial sausage people, they're going to sell generally stuff that they know they can sell a lot of, and also as a fellow cooking nerd, stuff that they can produce as cheaply as possible while still selling it a lot. And when you get into hand making sausage, it's like the gloves are off. You're unshackled. Like I can put anything I want in a casing. It doesn't have to be something that will appeal to the masses. It just has to appeal to me. And also I can use natural hog casing and just pure pork shoulder and nothing, no like odds and ends shit, and just have the best possible product. Especially when you're not selling it at all. Like I have absolutely no interest in monetizing my sausage making because that just sucks the joy out of it.
You have no interest in monetizing your wiener? I got you.
Well, it's like if I were to monetize it, I would have to like math out and like to make an actual profit on it. It would be like quite expensive, probably. I'm sure for me to sell it. And like the people receiving it aren't going to get the same joy out of buying like a vacuum sealed, $20 5-pack of my bratwurst than they are when I just cooked it by hand and I'm handing it to them at a camp out and they're hungry. That's like the true experience there.
Hours and or tournament fighting,
There's
nothing better than that.
Yeah. Are you gonna go to K-Star's room?
I will.
I got 5 minutes where I gotta go.
Okay.
I'm very sad about it. Oh, sorry.
Was that one?
Oh, he was saying that he has about 5 minutes before he goes. So
Okay.
it'll just be us 3.
That's all right.
I wanted to go to Harvard Palooza before I go.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We can talk about Harvard Palooza. I'll switch back to sausage after you go.
We can always talk about sausage. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about Harvard Palooza more after you go too.
And I'm more available. I'm available to do this again too. My partner has to work in the morning and is getting ready to go. So.
Gotcha.
The eternal struggle. I'm glad I've got weekends off these days.
Yeah.
But so
go on.
Harvard Palooza, or as the advertisement says, is blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Right, AI generated art cover photo for it. Yeah. So, Harvard Palooza is the 12th through 14th of July. It's the same weekend as Gathering of the Kingdoms, and it's like the opposite of Gathering of the Kingdoms, right? So, the Harbingers are largely people that aren't into like the full role play immersion thing, and of course, I'm not hating or anything. It's just like we're primarily interested in like fighting battle games and nightlife. And
being dorks.
And being dorks, yeah. Dwarves and also dorks, yeah. Just doing dumb bits and stuff. So the Harvard Palooza is kind of our attempt at a back to basics camp out. So it's just we do 2 tournaments, we do battle games, we do tomfoolery, we do nightlife. There's no court with the exception of a knighting. And also Opie is bankrolling the whole thing. So he's just paying for everything, and it's $20 at gate, which is just completely going back to Black Spire. So our budget is just a complete loss to Opie. He's just spending all the money himself, and all the money we take in is just going to Black Spire. And so we're not like really concerned about making a profit or anything. Our main income source, or our only money source, already knows he's losing everything that he puts into it. And losing is a strong term. Investing everything, investing everything in a good time for our community in PNW Amtgard. And
I really wish I could go.
Yeah, it's also kind of the opposite. Like I said, it's the opposite of Gathering of the Kingdoms. Gathering of the Kingdoms is, of course, the camp out with the most politics.
Yeah.
It is the politics camp out. If you're into Amtgard politics specifically, that is the one for you. But the
other end.
but yeah, and like I don't know. I think that because of like how Amtgard award culture is, and like the expectations of what happens at, like, say, your coordination campouts where there's a bunch of awards and whatnot, it creates a lot of time where we're not playing Amtgard. And I do think that stuff is like important too. I think that people need recognition. I think that it's important that they get recognized by their peers and everyone sits in court and watches it. Those moments are huge for Amtgarders. I'm also the head of our Scribes Guild, so like I trust me, I care about that. I care about court. But I think that because those things always happen at our campouts, we really miss opportunities to have campouts that just are more lighthearted and are just, hey, we're gonna chill and battle game and have fun and stuff, and also drink and just kind of not worry about things like awards and whatnot.
I think that's so key, because a lot of times people get so obsessed with certain aspects of this game, like winning or awards, or fame or popularity, that they forget we're just here to play a game. We're just here to have fun. People get so focused on those things that they just let that get away from them, and like they don't think about how the next 2 seconds or the next 2 days is could affect them, and the reason why we're even here to begin with.
Yeah, our big yearly event. Admittedly, I would love to step away from even doing court, but we have no tournaments, we have no battle games, we just focus on questing and stuff. Ideally, I would even like to take court of that. At this point, we basically have it set up where day one is a come get your hellos out, meet all the people you haven't seen forever, have that great nightlife day. Obviously throughout the weekend still have a small little court just to get those things out of the way. But, realistically, I kind of want to get rid of that because, yes, it's needed, but we could do that, or we could actually have an event that's filled with everything.
We're not trying to crap on court. What we're trying to say is if you're going to have it be a part of the event in a meaningful way, not just gotchas.
Yeah.
And it's important for people to be received and acknowledged in front of others to go, woo! But it's also like killing the king during court, or espionage, or assassins games, or stuff like that. It'd be really cool if done right. Or have the role play mean something in court.
And it can, right? It's very much based on the event too. Some courts are super chill. And I do definitely think court is an important part of our game, but kind of like with Oso over here, you do lose a lot of your event time to having big courts, right? So, but that might also be a different beast. We don't have here in VO the same kind of general culture for events.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a whole different thing. We can tangent on about that later. Dan, you look like you are trying to leave.
I do gotta go. But any last NLCC or Harbapalooza questions I can really help answer though.
I don't think so.
I got
do you have a crap roll? I forget. Do you have a crap roll at Palooza, or you just help me before? Yeah.
I'm assistant med and I'm assistant cleanup.
Gotcha.
Crap.
Cool.
I'm not any one crap, but I'm an assistant on 3 different positions. So I'm the second guy in 3 positions. And Heron and I are also one. Kim Jin Sir Kim Jin is one of the people that are Warcrat, but we actually have. He's only running 2 game blocks in a row. We have Rook, Heron, and I are all each running 1 game block as well.
God, what's that? That's such a stacked team for battle gaming, dude. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, but I think so. I think Feastcrat, but I'm also just calling myself the assistant autocrat because I am doing like the feast planning with a group, but we're only doing 1 feast at Harbapalooza. That's also part of it, is that partially because Bob's funding the whole thing, but also because I'm a big proponent of people cooking and stuff at campouts, and I think that a lot of people want to bring their own food or like just feed their camps and whatnot. We're only doing 1 feast to kind of create more opportunity for that, because we don't really want everyone's camp food competing against feasts, and it makes more sense to do the 1.
We end up actually. I can speak about this a little bit from NLC from what we just did. We had a lot of people complain about the quality of the food, and they forgot that the feasts that we served were all donated, and they were given for free, not even costing at the event. Because ultimately, one of the biggest issues with everyone's like good fights, good eats, and good talks is like been good hangouts. It's like the thing everyone wants for campouts. But if we provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're paying for that at gate. It's coming out of something.
Yeah, someone's paying for it. Yeah,
it's not.
We get up to $8 gate fees, right? Like,
That's why you get someone to come in and do meal plans.
Yeah, that's the most notorious of recent.
Yeah, that's what I've done for many years of events, right?
That's why you need a hogmaster.
Meal plans are good and all, but like hogmaster.
Them?
Meal plans are good and all, but at a point, food is so expensive too that at a point it's still going to be raising your. If you provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so you're providing lunch, dinner twice, breakfast twice, and dinner 3 times actually. There's no way you're going to get away with anything less, even with marketing, than a $15 gate raise. per
Well, I'm
person.
talking about having an
And
independent
you're
vendor
also
come in and sell the food.
Yeah, that
Not
too.
yeah, short of separating the food, doing it separately.
Even
and
And
we've
then
done that at
then making
LCC
sure
at least
that
twice.
I think
the only issue then is it's first come first serve.
over in Western Winds with Circle of the Fate, I think.
One sec, I do gotta go, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Hey guys, have a good
Good
night.
seeing
Thank
you.
you, Chad.
Great to see you every time. It's a shame to see
Love
you
you
go.
guys. And then this is Sam says bye too.
Bye, fam.
I do want to, before we continue on with the food discussion, Dimitri came in and said shenanigans involving the crowd having some gravitas is important to making it insufferable. Talking about having court and making it,
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to
Having
throw that out
court
there.
having court's important, but you got to make sure that that there's it's done in a meaningfully and tasteful way.
Yeah.
But I do got to go.
All right.
So guys, have a good night.
Night.
Until next time.
Whoop. Oh shit. Right.
Yeah. So the other food thing that we broke off for Harbapalooza for. So like Lenland was saying, the other aspect is like welcoming people, because I don't know, you offering a stranger like food that you just cooked is like a very special, like welcoming interaction. And so Taliesin, he's a harbinger as well, and he is a knight of the SCA, and he came from the SCA because of not wanting to sustain long-term injuries from their heavier fighting. But he is a knight of the SCA and is now the full-time Amtgarder, and he like a couple of years ago was talking about his night when he was a squire in the SCA, and about how his night is like a brewer and brings a bunch of mead to events and also a bunch of extra cups. And then when people walk by his camp, he's just like, "Oh, hey, you want a drink?" And they'll say like, "Oh, well, I don't have a vessel," and he's like, "Oh, I have extras," and that's, by the way, why Taliesin's heraldry is a chalice. If Blackspire people have ever wondered that, why people call him Cup Man and whatnot, and it's because as he says, good night should have extra cups. It's the food. It's
huge difference on first interactions.
Yeah.
One of my first like few Amtgard events was coming to a K-Stars with bad wish of the name, but he's from Blackspire. He runs Kilted Dwarf.
Cormac.
Yeah.
Yep. Another harbinger.
Yeah, another. He was the first person to introduce me to mead, and he was basically just walking around with it and gave me a tester. And oh my god, it was so good, and it just definitely was a very well received, like welcoming, right?
Yeah.
And now I also brew my own thanks to him. He definitely put me down the rabbit hole.
Man,
But,
just wait until you find out that sausage making equipment's not very expensive.
God, I'm spoiled. I used to do a lot of it back in the day in one of the restaurants I worked at.
Oh, cool.
We just had the materials available.
Yeah.
I wish I should probably go invest in it myself, because it's honestly, it's a good time. You can do whatever you want. You can make whatever profiles you want.
Yeah.
You can really go down a rabbit hole. We got to the point of making like Landjagger and stuff.
Yeah. And
and Kieran.
I was telling Louis that, like, because of how people generally, when you make something commercially, it's with the intent of selling a lot of it. How there's just whole untapped kind of things to turn into sausage, like Asian sausage, pretty much untapped. Making like bulgogi, teriyaki sausage, galbi, anything like that, adobo sausage, or
sausage would bang.
Yeah, adobo sausage would bang. on my list, I want to mess with doing a soup dumpling sausage, like a xiaolong bao sausage, because like
glass.
yeah, because you are probably aware that like when you make like a collagen heavy broth, so then when it chills, it congeals and into like a jelly, so then you can wrap it in the dumpling, and then it becomes broth again when you cook it. And so you want fat in sausages mostly like for structural reasons, and hypothetically, the same principle should work for a sausage. You should be able to use the congealed fat or the congealed broth the same way you would normally use added fat in sausage for structural reasons, but then it would turn into soup when you make it, and you just get an explosive soup bite. Hypothetically, I don't know if this is a tested theory, but
we test things.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we test things, but that's my hypothesis, and I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be how it works.
Like in theory, yeah, because you shouldn't have anywhere for it to burst from it. Like you might have to boil,
yeah,
right, rather than like grill or something where you have a surface that can split. But yeah, no, that could you're onto something.
Yeah, also like lamb casing is really common, so it's like, man, I kind of want to try to make like a Kashmiri lamb sausage. I think that would be super cool.
What was it? We did a sweet chili cream cheese one at one point, and it was so stupid but so good.
Well, you didn't only have a hog either. You also had a chicken one that was really good at the event.
Yeah. The Tuscan chicken fox. Yeah, that's a good one.
Man.
Man, I'm a big brat guy. I think that the like just traditional brats were my favorite of the three that I brought.
Being delicious.
Yeah.
I heard you brought a bunch of different mustard.
Yes, yeah, there was like yellow and Dijon and stone ground.
The German in me was like, you need to go to the porch.
Show me the stone ground mustard. Yeah,
I got dragged around by Ralph.
We went through all of the handmade buns on Friday night, but Magenta made pretzel buns for the brats too.
Oh. I got a little bit of handmade bun from Kimmy.
Nice.
He gave me one of his Ed bits, and he was like, just eat it. It was so good.
Yeah. I also think that if I'm asked to feast crap for an event anytime soon, I might just do sausage feast, because it's like actually kind of easy, because all you're doing on site is grilling.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, less than 24 hours, I put out 50 pounds of sausage from my 17-inch Blackstone portable. And I'm like, man, if I had a 34-inch or something, I could probably cook a feast in like a reasonable time. And it is a lot of hours of work to do that much sausage, but it's all work I can just do the week before, So,
you can silver lining, you pre-make all the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you show up, you get it hot. The action right then. It's really easy.
Not often do you have a feast where it's just like do all the stuff ahead of time, good to go when you get there.
Yeah, you can be like fairly preemptive about it, because I cooked professionally for 5 years. I know you also have a significant amount of professional cooking experience, and more than me, I know. But
Annie is good.
But the how to say, like, prep, to give an example, like when I did the chicken and dumplings for Dragon Master, that was also like kind of a donated just to anyone who walks up for lunch or whatever to the Kilted Dwarf at that event kind of time.
It was delicious, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, my chicken and dumplings, they're really good. I spent like two winters in a row just like practicing like that, like half the time, because I was just, man, this is like a West Coast or Western staple that like just rules, but isn't something that you like find in like a restaurant environment very often. It's mostly like a homemade thing, and I didn't know anyone that like does it much, so I just started doing it, and yeah, I think it's very good. But the when I made that, I did like all of the cutting beforehand, all like basic prep, and then all I actually did like that morning when I was making for Dragon Master was like cook the vegetables in butter, throw flour in there, roux it up, pour stock in there, good to go. I pre-cooked the chicken for that as well because I wasn't going to do that on a campfire on Saturday morning. But
no point in risking it, right?
Yeah, no point. Well, yeah, and that was really easy, and I a lot of the same logic can apply to like a feast environment. Simply, identify
Honestly,
what can and can't be done beforehand. Yeah, go on.
Oh,
go on.
I think Rimbeard froze.
I might have to disconnect real quick. Everybody's robots for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, your video
is frozen every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Now you're fine.
I'll be right back. Every once in a while, I have to reset my Discord calls.
Okay.
No, what the problem is, but this happens every once in a while. It actually happened earlier in the show. There were just enough people where it wasn't noticeable.
We might notice now, but then go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, prep is important. It's the stuff that you can do sometimes before the event, and if you can do it before the event, it definitely helps.
It's how I've never had a late feast.
Yeah.
I've been feastocrat as well as autocrat for most of my events, and not once at this point have I had a late feast. Even last year, I traveled over to Edmonton, so I'm in BC, Western Winds, Edmonton. Was feastocrat over there, and I was actually well ahead of time, almost too well ahead, because there are other things that ended up happening. But and big part of that was just doing my prep ahead of time, right? If you have everything ready to go well ahead that you can feasibly do, you'll have no problems, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where things get stuck on, like something that was really cool that happened at NLCC. I didn't get to see everything going on, but I know like High Risk, they did majority of their prep for their breakfast the night before.
Yeah.
And it went super smoothly because of that. And that just shows that, really doing that prep goes a long way.
Yeah. It's like, sometimes, I hear like volunteers celebrated for spending like 17 hours in the kitchen or whatever, and like they were cutting vegetables for 3 hours, and it's just like, I mean, celebrate the volunteers, not as a knock to their work, but we shouldn't be like creating situations where people are in the kitchen for 17 hours a day. And if it's like, hey, you're cutting vegetables for 3 hours, like someone probably could have done that before.
Non-late feasts do exist. I've only had as Demetria's comment, I've had 2 feasts that I've done that were late, and both of them was because I couldn't get the fire to start. But that's frustrating.
Oh no. That is rough. Especially when you have to rely on something like a fire. Yeah. I know our current event site, we don't have anything, so we have to rely on. We also can't rely on fire, thankfully, because we're in a semi-desert up in Canada, so like everything burns. But we have to make sure that hopefully everybody filled up their propane bottle and all that kind of stuff. That's why I pre-cook everything if I'm running a feast for the event. Because worst case scenario, I can wrangle up some people's equipment that they're using for their own cooking, and we can just get it done. If something goes wrong, which thankfully nothing has gone wrong. I have a Blackstone cooking flat top for that reason.
Yeah, hell yeah. The huge Blackstone enjoyers over here.
I'm tempted to get a second one.
Yeah, I have 2. I have a 28-inch yard one and a 7. I just bought a 17-inch, which is the one I brought to NLCC because that one I don't have to take apart to put in my car. So big W there.
That's a downside of having a big one. You have to really break her down, but at least they do pack up nicely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely a fellow feast person, or even just cooking in general, it makes life so nice.
Yeah. No, so like I said, I cooked professionally for 5 years, and when I left that industry for my current industry, I got my Blackstone like within like 4 months because I just really like cooking on flat tops. And I was just like, oh yes, this outdoor griddle is basically just a flat top. So I could do all of the flat top tricks that I know about line cooking from line cooking here. So I got Turner spatulas and grill weights and like all of the cool line cooking stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes life becomes so easy when you have a flat top that you can bring everywhere with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Spoiler, hasn't been said publicly yet, but our one feast at Harpalooza is a taco bar, which was also chosen largely because most of the work can be done beforehand, and thus, we can get a lot of really high effort stuff going on. Well marinated meats and things. Runebeard froze again.
Oh no!
Oh,
He's back.
he's back. He's back.
It happens.
It was such a huge secret that's not really released that my internet couldn't handle it.
Yeah, exactly. The taco bar. Well, so it was going to be like a joke about my knighting for doing a buffet line instead of a buffet line, and then Hard Place did that too, which is completely unrelated. Both of us had the same bit, just completely by coincidence. But now I'm not going to make the bit because the last camp out someone did that. It's going to look unoriginal.
Karen Ray suggests smash burger feast.
Hey, that's mostly prep too.
No.
Right. I'd be super keen for that.
Yeah. That'd be sweet. We just everyone brings out their Blackstones.
I think Dimitri has a good idea. Make the buffet line just a trend. It's okay that someone else did it. Just make it the new thing.
Make it the new thing. Yeah, they made the buffet line the thing. Surely we can make the buffet line a thing.
It's a lot more record friendly. I can tell you that. I didn't want to record the buffet line because I just didn't want to show that on YouTube.
I mean, the buffet line's gang shit.
Yeah.
To just Joe Schmo random viewer that maybe isn't an Amtgarder or otherwise is new to it, seeing a buffet line is just like, wow, this is kind of culty. It's kind of weird.
Maybe a little bit.
Ken says I'm a fan of both the buffet and the buffet. I did have a rather nasty buffet experience. I mean, I chose it. I kind of wanted to do it, but I mean, I wouldn't want anyone to choose that really. But
so I remember when that happened. Do you bruise particularly easily, or were people just punching you really hard?
Hard.
Damn.
I don't really bruise that easily.
Damn. Yeah,
were you just like black and blue up and down? Or I guess in the one spot.
It was all over.
His chest was. He looked like he got jumped. He looked like he got jumped into a gang, which I mean is basically what a buffet line is.
What happened?
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of wanted to see how well I could take a punch, honestly, which is kind of a stupid reason to do it, but that's why I went with it. Also, it was still the fashionable thing to do at the time for whatever reason. Oh, geez, Bloody Knuckles, yeah. That's another story for another event. Oh, that was wild.
Man. Huh?
Crazy times.
Yeah. All voluntary, at least in my case, so.
All right. Do we want to have a knighthood conversation since we're on the line topic anyway?
Oh, yeah. So.
We're here.
Oso's going to be knighted here soon. I actually was my knighting anniversary is at Pack War for the 10 years.
I was there. So, that was my first Pack War.
Yeah, was it?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Spring of of 2024 is when I started. I just passed my 10-year anniversary.
Oh wow! Congratulations for 10 years.
Thanks.
Not everyone
Well,
hits
I mean,
that.
it's really like 5. You know, like I came back.
Oh, that's true.
Well, so when I started Amtgard, I was 19. I'm 29 now, and I think I stopped coming out in like 2018 or so, and it was mostly because it just took like a big drain on my mental health, which is fairly common for Amtgarders because you know it's an escapism hobby first and foremost, and the Amtgard can be really dangerous as a hobby when you aren't like a very balanced person and you let yourself or you devote too much of yourself to it. Uh, that I think it's kind of a LARP thing in general. Amtgard is kind of particularly like this because of the award system and like how we encourage a bunch of different crafts and things, and because like our power structures have a bunch of officers and like roles that need to be filled. You know, compared to something like Bellagarth, where the entire game has like 5 officers or something crazy like that. But yeah, so I was 19 when I started, so I was like 22, 23 when I stopped coming out, and it was because I was just a young adult. I wasn't a very balanced person. It was affecting me badly because I had no balance, no time management skills. And was just putting too much of myself into it. That's true, yes. I did get Louis to come out and then quit like a few months later, and he was still there when I got back. But I started like participating again during COVID, like online. I would have started coming out then too if COVID wasn't happening at the time. But it was basically just, shortly after my home park started meeting again in 2021 that I came back.
Cool. I remember you just kind of disappearing. That was vaguely attached to Blackspire at that time and the cultures around that area.
Yep. Yeah, I just kind of dipped. I didn't, so people sometimes make dramatic departures from Amtgard, and that's not really my deal. Because nothing I do in Amtgard is for the sake of getting attention, if I'm quitting, I don't need to make a show about it. So I just kind of stopped coming.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so
to me anyway.
So funny enough, I remember me kind of soft leaving because the weekend that Pack War was happening, I want to say it was 2018 or something. Hurricane Sandy was happening in Florida, and I went there for to help with the relief effort that weekend, and I bailed on a volunteer shift that I had volunteered for at Pack War, and which sucked and made me feel bad, but also I was hey, this is kind of more important.
And not just Amtgard shenanigans, right?
Yeah, exactly. And but that particular thing was what made me think that I was putting too much of myself out there, because I felt bad for not volunteering at a Wacky Bat camp out while I was on my way to an actual major thing that was happening. And and I don't know, yeah, that kind of made me soft quit. But I came back eventually because I do I love the community, I love the game. Obviously, I now have a lot of hats in Amtgard again. But I'm better at time management and have the emotional intelligence of a late 20s man instead of a early 20s man. Yeah, I think it was the kind of thing where I just kind of had to do some stuff to grow myself before I got involved to the degree I wanted to be.
As someone that was there when you started, and saw you progress, I think that you coming back was a very good thing, and that you learned a lot, and you've been doing much better at not overcommitting and doing what in your, as you were talking about, time management than when you left. So I think you learned a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I also I'm Ambassador Dragon. That's mostly from poetry. That was also kind of the hobby that I developed while I was away. the that yeah the that was interesting. I have a poetry blog as well, defiancepoetry.com, if you want to plug that. But
oh yeah, you can type in the chat if you can.
Sweet, yeah. Defiancepoetry.com is where my catalog is, my portfolio, and
like you were a state champ too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was the 2022 Oregon Poetry Association state champion. For 30 and under, which is like the main competition. 30 under means 30 lines and under, not like 30 years old. So 30 and under is the main category, or like the most competitive category, because that's where most poems fall. And yeah, so
at what point in the story?
I won that in 2022, and something that had been developed kind of completely independently of me just while I was away, so like full credit to Requiem for this mostly, is the Scribes Guild. The Blackspire, there's a lot of things that aren't great about Blackspire as a kingdom. I'll be the first to say we've got problems that we need to work on, but one thing that Blackspire does better than almost any kingdom, I think, we're like one of the best in Amtgard for this, is giving out good awards and them being organized and on time. And that
wasn't always the case, by the way.
And that was not always the case. This happened while I was away. I came back and was blown away by the level this was improved. My Paragon Druid title from before I left is on like a generic fill-out award, and now like no one's gonna get a Paragon that's not handmade. A large part of a large part of
Red Zodiac, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
My Master Rose is on the same basic template.
Yeah, that's how it is. And yeah, now we're just so much better at that. It enhances court a lot, and because those moments, those getting Paragons and Masterhoods, these big chase awards, are so key for people, like something that they work so hard for and really want, giving them like a really nice handmade gift in the form of a good scroll just enhances that moment so much, and I love that. And so when I got back in, one of my first campouts back was NLCC Spring 2022, and that was where I met Kim Jin in person for the first time, which we're the best of friends now, so that might be surprising that I haven't actually known him that long. But but he had just gotten Master Dragon for doing poetry, which kind of made me realize, like, oh, I do poetry. I didn't know that I could just do that here. And
you couldn't really before.
I couldn't really before, yeah. And so yeah, I started doing scroll work that way and earned my way up to Master Dragon doing that. But I, because I kind of came in with a pedigree completely unrelated to Amtgard award making, when it comes to writing, when I came in, I've done a few poetry Ithras, and often get consulted about, as people say in Amtgard, ironically, doing words, the least poetic way to say writing poetry. I get asked about it a lot for the sake of people that are like scribes that are trying to get into writing their own awards instead of outsourcing it to me or one of the other writers. And the core thing that I always tell them is it doesn't matter how everyone else reacts. Because that award is for that person. That moment is for the person getting the award. the eyes being on them, the audience being there also exists mostly to enhance that moment for them. And the yeah, so I guess that's the only way I was really going for that was I think that the scribe skill is really important for that.
No, I definitely agree. It's super important. You know, I'm not the most poetic person. Yeah, people from my kingdom know that I am not the best with the words and the verbiage things on paper. But this last year, being king, I had to kind of, start figuring things out, and like, it kind of put me down the path of learning how to do a little bit of poetic justice to people, right?
Yeah.
And definitely that was the biggest lesson learned, is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The people in the crowd don't matter.
Yeah.
It is the person that is receiving this. They are the person on this that have the spotlight on them. They're the most important person in this moment for whatever they're getting. It could be as simple as a Lord title or lady title, or a masterhood title, right?
Yeah.
As long as the words are meaningful towards them, that is just the most important part.
Yeah.
And it's people that understand how to weave words like you do, like Kimmy does, that I think are some of the most important people to our game.
Yeah.
Because you can really put the heart into it.
Yeah. Well, like, so beautiful artwork. The is great and also enhances those moments just to be like, wow, you did that for me. But I think that the like prose, great writing, does something that can't really be done with visual artwork in the same way, which is letting them know that they're seen. It's because they're getting recognition for the thing, but it's about making it more personal than that, more than just like, oh, well, their name showed up on the recommendation form a bunch of times. It's about, addressing the work they've done and how they're appreciated. And if you're doing things like referencing, their personal character lore, if they're a big RP person, or, visual or verbally referencing like pieces of their specific work or their heraldry, like stuff to make them know that you looked into it, that you did the research, and gain, if not had before, gained an appreciation for them and why they're getting that award. That's like the beauty that can exist for writing, that it doesn't really exist in the same way with visual artwork.
When I got my Archduke that Requiem made, it wasn't the wonderful artwork piece that moved me. It was Kim Jim's words that went along with it, and the fact that he went and researched and went back into my history and told my story through his words. Yeah. And that's what moved me when I got the award.
That's how you get the crowd crying too.
I got Baron at Winter Bash, and Kim did the awards for that, and that was definitely the most notable prose that I've gotten for an award, and that one, I was the person that was was getting the special moment that time, where the special moment that I'm trying to create for people, because I was just like, damn, I'm really seen here, like. He's referencing the stuff I do as a rules rep, as I'm the AIBOD or the Black Spire BOD president. I've said the word AIBOD president a lot as a rules rep in the last couple months, so that kind of rolls out. But I'm Black Spire's BOD president, and I'm the head scribe, and I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, which. I'm happy doing stuff behind the scenes because, like I said, nothing I do in Amtgard I do for attention. But simultaneously, like, all of these things being referenced and like specific accomplishments within those roles went a long way to make me feel seen for doing those. And I think that that's the moment you're trying to create as a writer when approaching Amtgard Awards. And I really like that we've gotten so much better at that since I've been away. I think that go on.
I was following up on that. Cam was talking about the Scribes Guild. He's Louis in the game. I had no interest in making awards, but the Scribes Guild are pumping out the quality they did at such a high quantity made me feel like that they had to contribute. And now they've made several and have more on the burner. So the Scribes Guild has been wonderful for the kingdom.
Yeah, it is. It's an inspiring thing. And it just does great things. Like creating those moments obviously is first and foremost, but it takes pressure off the monarchy because a lot of why we didn't get a lot of nice awards before is because it's kind of a big job. Like doing the head scribe, it's just like I'm coordinating a lot of people and keeping tabs and checking up on them and making sure that stuff gets done and we find people to make things and that it's all coordinated and in the right place at the right time. And that's kind of a lot of work, honestly. And especially like if you like VO just got a Scribes Guild page, I believe, and that is super exciting. Big ups to Boo, love her, great scribe. But when you don't have a Scribes Guild page, it's just like the monarch just DMs people, just goes for it, and it's just like it's bad system.
Chats. Like we had a minor one beforehand, but it just wasn't doing the job it needed to do. So like I can say it's like being king for a year, trying to get everybody on the same page was so incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And like I don't have enough spoons always to be able to create things like a Scribal Guild. So I'm so glad that we do have one now.
Yeah.
And I think having like a head scribe will make the next person's life so much better.
Yeah. It's funny, the Scribes Guild in Blackspire also like doesn't exist in our corpora or anything. It's literally just like a thing that Requiem started doing and gathered people for, and now it's just kind of culturally become part of the kingdom where like, the monarch does hit me up and say, hey, these are the people getting awards, find scribes for them, and like it functions as if it's like an official part of our structure, but it's not. It's just a thing that the scribes got together and do. Mostly props to Asa here for Requiem for putting that together.
Flows.
Yeah. But yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off monarchy, and also it allows more access to the dragon path, which I love. Like I said, I've won Best in Dragon at a Dragon Master once. I don't really like competing in Dragon Masters because they're at campouts and I'm there to do battle games and stuff. And ironic being that we were just talking about me being a state champion poet, but I also don't really particularly like the concept of competitive art because like I don't like, hey, read my poem and then judge it against this other thing instead of just allowing it to hit you and allowing your organic emotional reaction to it and giving feedback based on your experience reading it. I don't like it not existing in a bubble by putting it in a competition, and now you have to pull up. In Amtgard, it gets even weirder because it's like, oh, and now pick up this bracelet. Is my poem better than this bracelet? Like, what does that even mean?
So I had something like that happen recently where I entered, mostly for shits and giggles, a Amtgard food fight entry that I put in from last year into a digital Dragon Master, and like somehow it did great. It definitely compared to one other item. I'm just like, I don't know how this compares, but that's Amtgard ANS for you in a nutshell.
Yeah, the cheesecake rule.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and I mean that's a whole thing we can get into, like that. So, for example, things like leather and plastic tend to be judged very harshly in Amtgard because a lot of people in Amtgard know a lot about that, and so are going to notice like smaller flaws, right, or like just less apparent flaws. But like food generally scores really well because food is good and people like to eat, and also Amtgard food theory. They're an Amtgard event, so everything tastes better. But everyone likes to eat food. and not everyone has like a refined palate and knows what makes food actually good in like a competitive sense. It's just like yummy does this have a lot of MSG or sugar or whatever in it, and the
Are you
yeah
using acid?
yeah
Wow. But I think
yeah
that's a whole different. That's a ball game with our ANF style tournaments as it is. Like,
yeah
this isn't meant to sound like how it sounds, but our judges don't know how to judge.
yeah
Obviously, they know how to judge, but there's just so many things
yeah.
we can't
No,
know everything. That's
yeah, it's
pretty.
not reasonable to expect any Amtgard judge to actually have informed opinions about all the stuff that they're judging. It's just not. Though,
I've been a kingdom level Dragon Master judge for what 4 events, and then principality level for like 3 or more, and
yeah,
like there's just so much content in between there where I will never know everything. I
yeah,
will never know how to judge, especially something random that pops up that like how do you scale something on simplicity / this, that, and
uh,
there, where
yeah,
forward, right?
yeah.
This
And
so
then, well, like, so when I got Best in Dragon that one time, it was for entering the poem that won the Oregon Poetry Association state championships. And while that is like a fantastic poem, I'm not going to discredit my own work there. That is a brilliant piece of art. Uh, at the same time, I am I'm sure that a lot of why I got Best in Dragon with that was because in the write up I got to say this poem won the Oregon Poetry Association state championships. Like because it's just tells these judges who I'm sure admittedly aren't qualified to judge poetry a pretext of this is good before they start reading it. And it's weird. I think the best thing you can actually do if you have a more niche art or an art that's not common in Amtgard is to go compete in and do well in mundane non Amtgard competitions for those things, and then just flex that you did well in them. Because that way it just lets them know hey, this is good, just so you know.
Oh man, I'm gonna go bring my red tie prawn recipe that has a mural in town about it into a Dragon Master. Woo!
But yeah, so the Scribes Guild is giving Dragon Path people a great avenue to show off their painting or their writing or even other things. It is painting still, but Chandra Redgrave, a Master Dragon in Black Spire, specifically paints marble slabs.
Ooh.
And yeah, my Paragon or no, my Battle Master rather is one of her marble slabs, and it's cool because I have my biblical theme, right? And so it's like a commandment, It's this big stone.
Is that Cat's mom?
Oh, yeah, Cat's mom is Chandra Redgrave, and but yeah, and those are just super sick, and it allows people to have these avenues to show off their work if they're not comfortable being in an art competition.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. My last award I got, I think it was made by not Ilana. I forget exactly how to pronounce her name, but
Elena. Elena, I think.
Yeah. Elena, yeah, and I'd never seen her work or anything like that, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked that she got a chance to make something, and I was kind of touched that she went and did that because she put effort and thought into it, and yeah, I'm glad she got the chance to do that.
Yeah, it's awesome for that. My wife, Aya is her mundane name. She goes to campouts sometimes, but otherwise doesn't really participate in Amtgard because she's not really about the gameplay. But she likes nightlife and hanging out at campouts. And she also does scribe work for Black Spire, and it gives her an opportunity to interact with the game in a way, just any engagement at all. And that's good too.
Yeah, totally. I know we've got a few people, even at our local barony, where they're not necessarily interested in combat or fielding, but they're artists, whether by trade or just by passion and love. And they love just to put in work for us and do cool things, right? Even if there's just random drawings of going on that might have happened at park where they just come and relax and enjoy the vibes, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely that another avenue where people can just have fun. I do, as a previous monarch, and I guess technically current monarch, I'd never leave monarchy in one form or another.
If I vote, yeah.
I do think like having the Scribes Guild where people can also post everything they do in there is a great avenue for a monarch to see what people are doing.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't have awards posted everywhere, because sometimes they do get lost in the sauce, right? A monarch might not be able to see it, or they don't see it in time, and then it gets once again lost just due to time. But having a kind of a time capsule of content is a great avenue for me to be able to look back and see what has gone on, right? And make sure that our scribes are also well taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. The speaking of monarchy, are you a Master Crown yet, Rooney?
I'm not going to go too deep in this, but I haven't gotten a crown since Crown came out, and I've been in office since 2014 with no breaks.
I see.
That's very peculiar.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different thing, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, we got into the Serpent conversation because that's one of my masterheads for my upcoming knighting, so I just kind of wanted to pick your brain about, because you're a squire, so you have a knightly path, I reckon. Do you think of yourself as a crown path, or?
I'm everywhere.
Gotcha. Do all the stuff.
I'm on my 9th rose. I'm on my high crowns. I think I'm 7 on crowns. I'm 8 on battle. I'm 7 on sword. I think 6 on one of the serpent paths at this point. I'm trying to do dragon strictly through cooking. So that's been a harder one to get. It's just, creating the culture of getting cooking recognized.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm definitely just everywhere.
Yeah, there is a Schrodinger's award with cheesecake, with the food, where you'll score well at Dragon Master, but then not get a dragon for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's because a lot of the stuff that tends to get higher Serpent Path awards are like time gate stuff, and stuff where it's just like, this person spent, 200 hours weaving this tapestry or whatever. Like, that's an extreme example, but something like that, where it's just like a lot of time and a lot of intricate work. And the thing about that is that, like, I think that people don't recognize about cooking is that the people that are the best at cooking have cooked a lot more times than the people who are best at tapestries make tapestry. It's like the best cooking that will, that is worthy of high awards isn't about how much time that individual dish took in. It's about reps. It's about the skill and the skill build up before that. That's where the time is, and that's what people, I think, should be considering if they're considering workload.
It's so hard to make tangible, right? At this point in my career of cooking, I can say that I can't tangibly think of how long I've spent doing like certain things. I kind of joke about it, but I spent 3 years focusing on pizza prep and knowledge with a Red Seal chef, right?
Yeah.
That's one degree of it. I spent 2 years doing custard, focusing on like creme brulee and the different avenues and aspects of it. But that's also, it's so hard to tangibilize towards our, especially for Dragon Masters judges, other than giving them something that just blows their mind.
Yeah.
Which the reality with food ends up being fairly difficult, just because one of our time gates is actually just time itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like service in a restaurant. You only have so much time until that plate is now cold and you've lost an element of flavor, which being heat, right? And then vice versa on the side of serving cold dishes. you only have so much time until that food is warmed up and it's lost that element of flavor. Is one of the 4 key things, salt, acid, fat, heat.
Yep.
And
yes, I'm familiar with the book.
I watched the Netflix.
Very important thing to look up if you're interested in cooking. There is some of the 4 major elements when you go into cooking and you are looking at how to interact with food.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you really have to pick and choose what you're going to serve to people to make it efficient for entering something like a Dragon Master. You talk about the cheesecake theory, and like in reality, that's actually an item that's one of the easiest ones to actually give out to people. Is something that is a dessert item like that, where it's a little bit less affected by temperature control.
Yeah.
But that's also cuts out majority of the avenues of going savory, right?
Yeah.
Also, if you're doing it for a Dragon Master, you have to be waiting for your judges to come to you, and you have to have your food ready for when they come, right? So it's definitely a hard thing to go through. So I've been doing a man's feast.
Yeah. When I did the
feast instead.
When I did the chicken and dumplings, I literally just walked in while they were judging. I was just like, "Hey, I made these right now. Stop what you're doing and eat this. Here are the judging forms."
Here, there they are. Take it.
Yeah. Yes. Eat this now. Don't wait more than 10 minutes before you eat this, or I will personally be upset with you.
There's been times in the past of Blackspire where there are people that are running competitions and in monarchy positions where they actively knew to work with the people making the food, because it has been tried to try to elevate the awards and make them appropriate for the food and actually give them out. It never stuck really beyond the year or two after they did them, but yeah, it's really hard to get awards for that and to be able to present your food in a proper way for the judges at the competitions to actually eat the food.
Right. And where do you level things? One of the early things I heard going into it from the region at the time was the only way to get past your 5th order doing, food stuff, doing a 3 to 5 course meal that is prepped and ready for people.
And it's that's not happening.
And I'm just that's not as feasible as you think it is.
Well, not only is that not super feasible in the context of cooking at Amtgard, but in what situation in Amtgard am I going to be able to do that?
Right. And that's why it's big. Also, culture change, right?
Yeah.
Finding what is more of a feasible thing for people to do. Because I know there's a lot of people in VO who also are on the path of cooking and have that as their one of their goals. So probably other Amtgard too.
There's a rulebook award example that is my favorite because I think it's so absurd, and it's the Master Dragon example is for writing and directing a very good play. Because just look, if you write and direct any play, that's probably good enough. Very good. Damn, get Lin-Manuel Miranda out here, but it's just wow, what it's suggesting here is just an unreasonable expectation for an amount of work. This was written by someone who doesn't comprehend how much work writing and directing a very good play is.
How are you going to put yourself in an area where you can actually have that go off in a very good way?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is in what situation in Amtgard is this going to happen? First of all, but secondly, it's just this is something that could earn multiple Master Dragons for multiple people.
Yeah, not just one person going into this.
Yeah, we're talking about actors. We're talking about probably musicians. We're talking about people doing makeup and hair and costuming. We're Master Garbers can go out for this production. Just having it as the Master Dragon example is just so absurd.
Right,
it's pretty absurd, yeah.
Well, because it's not only is it this enormous amount of work to place as an expectation, but also I'm willing to bet it's never happened.
Good. Right.
0 Master Dragons have gotten their Master Dragon for doing that. Certainly, right? I refuse to believe until someone shows me hard evidence that it has happened.
gonna send you something cool we did this year. I'm not gonna do it right now. I'll do it after stream. We did an ad for our local convention, and we did like a whole like yeah, it'll be great. It's hard to explain because it's almost like going for an adventure. We start with just like a few of us, and then we pick up more people along the way, and it was so cool. There's no way you could do that as just like at an Amtgard event. Like I'm looking back on it, the amount of time, the amount of effort that goes into it. I couldn't imagine doing that and performing it.
Yeah. There's no way.
Right?
Duh.
Oh, the ROP.
Yeah.
There's always going to be weird takes.
Yeah. No, yeah, I get it. The RP is a strange document.
Beast.
I'm sure that Sedge has complained to you many times about the stuff that happens among rules reps when we're talking about the ROP.
I heard there's absolutely no copyright material in the book too. So
there's no copyrighted material. That's true. Arthur Uzumaki is definitely not named in the book. There are no Duran Duran lyrics in the book. There's no copyrighted material.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. It is perfect. That's true. That's why we never pass major changes in rules revision because it's already perfect. Yeah, I know. Internal screaming.
Don't worry. No, I should talk about that one. That's a cool rules change that people out by Park are looking at. But we can talk about that. I don't know if this is the right place for it.
We can about rules changes. That's whatever. We're just talking about Amtgard and stuff.
Potential cool change. It probably won't pass. We keep talking about the sash problem in our game, right? Because it exists.
The what problem?
The sash problem.
Sash problem.
Right?
Okay.
You know, we only have so many colors with sashes and all this stuff, right? And this obviously isn't a perfect fix, but we're just like, why don't we just get a ball rolling, right? And put in a change and see what happens. But we've got class symbols in the game. Why not start looking at using those in some way or fashion, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be just as noticeable as sashes. Maybe better. Instead of requiring sashes, having class symbols on like belt favors or something. On front and back. Kind of like what we did for the anti-paladin paladin for a little bit there. Where you had to have a dragon on your front and your back.
So I think that we could also learn from weirdly how V6 did class identifiers here, because like, for example, so in V6, assassins, you had to wear a mask covering the lower half of your face, and you would wear a headband, and the headband was a different color based on your level. We don't need the headband being a different color based on your level. That's overkill. But if it was like a sash, and then also you have to wear like a specific kind of garb that isn't immersion breaking and is visible, would be kind of sick, honestly.
There was a lot of hate for it. That's why we moved away from it.
Yeah. I guess it might be great in my head in theory, and
like
then
masks were horrible, but just imagine
like
finding a mask because it was insane.
Yeah,
some people liked it, but
yeah.
That's
how things go. Like that's it. Bring back Barbarian Fight After Death from the later, or what was it, V7 or V6, where you had to wear the sash or the headband.
Oh, the headbands, yeah.
Berserker headband, yeah.
Or armband.
Armband, yeah.
That
was like
avoid the red armband.
Yeah. Just a Dragon Ball cosplay. That's all. Oh, but I think that's a different beast that I think could be a lot of fun. And we're thinking about it like it's also something that I know Amtgard's looking at doing. Amtgard International has talked about doing actual like merch / stuff to sell. I know, right? A crazy thing.
I don't know about that.
That was a COF meeting while I was in term. Something mentioned. I'm just like, if we switch to belt favors for doing classes, that's something easy that Amtgard could do as a thing to, promote parts to have these. And it still be affordable for everybody, right?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about belt favors specifically.
Sure.
Because so uh for example, when like knights wear phoenixes for paladin and anti-paladin, it might just be like an enforcement problem, but like I very often have no idea what they're playing until I ask them. Uh in the it's funny. I actually like I don't dislike the idea of wearing phoenixes and like not having a sash
Yeah.
thing, but I kind of think the tabard is the move. But obviously, you know, I don't really want to ask everyone to wear a tabard at all times in class games and carry around, you know, 8 tabards. But like I'm after Tarbapalooza, when I can wear the fancy phoenix, I'm going for anti-paladin paladin. I'm planning to just wear like a chest and back tabard, because I think that it's big and visible from all angles, but also in a system where the class symbol coexists with sashes, it's nice because on a tabard, when they're looking for your sash, they will see the giant phoenix on your chest.
Right.
Because they're looking there.
But it's
No.
almost easier to tell what you're doing, right?
No.
And that's like where I do think wearing the class symbols might be a good avenue to go down.
No.
In one form or another. I don't know what the perfect solution is, but this is something we're spitballing on because, like, if you see the symbol on somebody's chest or on their back,
Yeah.
it's you need to tell they are what they are. And I know there's a lot of garbers out there that would love to be getting in on that, and like, and there's a lot of people that would love to display their imagery of their class too, right? Because there's
Yeah.
definitely class pride out there.
Yeah, people can be creative with it. Yeah.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think it would definitely promote creativity within Amtgard, which I think the more the merrier for that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in like the short time where we had the dragon symbols for paladin and anti-paladin, I was planning to, you know, screen print like a blue eyes white dragon tabard as a bit.
Nice.
Yeah,
That'd be so good.
that'd be good. Yeah. The
Some knighting tunic.
yeah, perhaps.
Tabard?
Yeah. I don't know. You'd have to ask Enoch what he has planned. I don't know. No.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah, I am looking forward to gifts. Honestly, because mostly just because like, I in my capacity as the head scribe am often in the behind the scenes part of gift giving for awards, and it'll be neat to go into a situation where I'm getting gifts and I have no idea who's making them or what they are or whatever.
Kind of sword are you gonna get?
I gave some suggestions. But I don't know. In the document that like my break glass that I handed to Enoch, I think I was pretty clear in that like these are some suggestions I have for things I would like, but like this is your thing. Because I don't know, I hold some level of sacredness to like the knight squire relationship, and I think that like elevating a squire is like the knight should be involved in that really heavily. I think that like it. I don't know. I feel that it is as much for Enoch as it is for me in that way, and so I would like for gifts and other related things to be whatever he wants to do.
Mhm.
No, first and
No,
foremost.
I totally agree. I think it's super important. Your knight has been there for you for the path to the point.
Yeah.
They're gonna help bring you to it, right? The entire stretch. And yeah, I think it's definitely as much for the knight as it is for the one to be knighted to a degree, right? Because they're, the pride of having that your squire elevate, right, is such a huge thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a milestone in like a knight's post knighting career, but in their white belt career, and the
kind of is.
yeah, but but also like I don't know when you're a knight and have a squire, you like are their mentor, you know, and or the intention is that you are their mentor and are helping them with, you know, that not just, you know, getting their box tops, but also their personal growth and preparing them to be like a role model for the community and like a spokesperson for the community, and the
Preparing you for that eternal office that is knighthood.
exactly, yeah, preparing you for the burden, you know, and the and as such, you know, when after you get, you know, accepted into that, and you know your knighting is happening, the that is, you know, the success of their task of, you know, helping you grow into that. Um, yeah, I don't know, dude. I asked for I wrote a speech for it. There's a part of my ceremony where I'm elevating my at arms to be my squire as well, and like because it's because I think that relationship is important. You know, I hold a lot of value there.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. You know, I hold a lot of value within the system that is belts as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's incredibly important to be there and, you know, to start that next step of the journey too for you and the rest of your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Them.
I
also to
actually
have them
was
be a
never a
little bit more
squire, so I never had that experience
You're a
going.
font. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. So
Yeah.
like I when thinking about that relationship when I became a knight, um I talked to a whole bunch of different knights to figure out what it was and to try to parse out how I wanted to treat it. And it was a really interesting experience to be put in that position. And it's fun to hear you guys talk about it because you've been in the Belted family, so you've experienced this firsthand, coming from before you get knighted. And it's
Yeah. I know I'm still learning. Like I think, but I've only been a squire 3 or 4 years now, and you know, I'm still definitely learning a lot, and it's an interesting relationship to be a part of. I've been like a man at arms under a lord in the past, and all that jazz, but it's definitely I think a different partnership to some degree.
Yeah. I don't know, I think that I don't know if this is like a culturally true thing or just my perspective, but I generally think an at arms tends to be like you are a maybe relatively new person, but are someone you're someone that I like and that I think is promising. You know,
Yeah,
where
I see you're more dedicated than your average player in this game. I see
yeah,
you're following a path, right? Let
yeah,
me help, or let me help guide you through it and be there for you to grow with you, right?
yeah, yeah. Where a squire, so like an at arms can be like a set and forget kind of thing, you know, where there's like not much going on there post belting, and it's just like I'm attached to this person, you know, because I don't think that there's like as much of an implicit mentorship role where with or the mentorship role with at arms is like implicit, where the one with squire is explicit, I guess, if that makes sense, where it's just like a squire is explicitly an apprentice knight. They're
Yeah.
a squire is someone who is, you know, in training to be a knight, essentially, who a knight is bringing up to get there too. Where an at arms is not like a promise in the same way.
Mhm.
The
I definitely agree, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, very much that squirehood is somebody who has been recognized that is on their way. Like they just need those next few steps and to be
yeah,
guided there. Whereas an at arms is somebody who definitely they have more dedication. Like, you know, a page is very much I view as somebody who generally a little bit newer to the game, right?
yeah,
The page is newer to the game and they're showing promise or they're showing interest. So you use
yeah,
your ability to help foster people like that into the game further. And that's where it just leads into being more, you know, becomes man-at-arms as they
yeah,
grow further in the game.
yeah.
It's
I
kind
mean,
of my
yeah,
feeling on it, or they're at least, you know they mesh with your family.
yeah.
In
I think sorry that those early belts are like yes, they are just, like, for often people that are newer to game and like are about meshing with your family, but also like I don't know if like because it's not exactly a retention policy, but like it is almost a retention tool in a way because it's like a way that a random player person can tell someone new that like your efforts are being noticed. I would like to reward this. I would like you to I want you to feel like you belong here. You know, like I accept you. The I'm willing to attach my name to you. The yeah, I don't know. It gives them a place of belonging, I guess.
It does. It starts to build a family relationship, and yeah, definitely a sense of belonging. I
Yeah.
think, especially with that paid ship, it makes a lot of a difference in newer players' experience in the game. Obviously, the goal is not too new, but
Oh.
somebody who's definitely there. And we had somebody bring in actually Orla. She took on a page recently, and that definitely has shown that person definitely feels more accepted within the community
Nice.
due to that, and it's cool to see it, right?
Ken has an opinion on this. When they were a squire, the responsibility of a man-at-arms felt like too much. Like I didn't have anything to offer, so to me, the knight squire was the one thing that made sense.
Yeah, I guess as you view it as your own, right? Like when I was a man at arms, I think I was a part of a different style of family too. The one thing that I had to offer to my family, knightly family at the time, because it was very much a sword heavy path, was to represent our name within tournaments, right? You know, show up, do a good job, push hard in the sword path. And I guess the vibes from that family too was that man at arms were much more on the fighty path of things too. So maybe that was just the culture. Um, but
I mean, I think generally I agree with you that, or both of you, that the man at arms is a little bit less serious, and you're attaching yourself to the person, but you're not necessarily taking the same concerted interests than with your squire. I also, on top of that, use the men at arms as a trial run, both for them and for myself, to see if we mesh before I elevate them to that status. So, I mean, some knights do that. I'm not the only one, but I don't think that is as common though.
yeah, I kind of do that with pages, but I guess that's also because I can't take on squares.
Oh yeah, that makes a difference.
Which is shout out to my recently man at arms, Wyron Phaservin. Much love. He's been killing in the game as of late. Picked up office at our local and just ran with it. I'm so proud.
I don't know. I wish you were coming to Palooza. I imagine that my knighting will probably be one of the drunkest knightings because it's at Palooza. There's no other court. Everyone's just doing nightlife when the knighting happens.
That's like a great opportunity for me to actually drink irresponsibly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't get to do very often, if not at all.
It's like
Also, because I did have to drink a lot.
Yeah, I'm doing a Borg for my vigil. So I originally was going to play Edward 40 Hands. Do you know what a Borg is?
No.
Oh, okay. So a Borg. So
it's not like from like Star Trek, right?
So the Borg is an acronym. It stands for Blackout Rage Gallon. It is so this is a fun piece of Amtgard history and something that Baelnorn knows well. There was once a knight in our area named Game Face. Wally is his mundane name. And Wally invented Wally juice. Wally's diabetic. And so Wally juice is something that he would make in 3-gallon intervals that was like 0 carb except for it had Everclear in it. So he just like made it so he could get wasted without spiking his insulin. But it's basically a Crystal Light water, Pedialyte, Everclear. It's a a very frat drink that like is meant to also not give you a hangover because you're drinking a ton of water while you're doing it.
Very
And,
familiar to Wog Juice, just
yeah, and so a Borg is Wally juice, but that term comes from frat culture, but that term has only been traced back to like 2018. So likely somehow Wally juice leaked out into normal pop culture and then into frat culture and was renamed into the Borg.
Yeah,
but
it's usually the other way around.
Yeah, it's usually the other way around. But are you familiar with Edward 40 hands?
Is that like the 240s?
Yeah, duct taped into your hands.
Yeah.
It's a drinking game, but really it's more of a drinking challenge, No, you can't really win. You just lose less.
Good time.
I won.
I was originally going to do Edward 40 hands, but I don't really want to drink 240s of malt liquor, so I decided on doing a Borg instead, but I'm getting a like steel gallon vessel, and I'm getting Heron to engrave it so I can pass it down to my squire. And so I'm gonna duct tape my hands to it and do Vigil Borg hands or Vigil gallon hands, where I'm in a praying position because Vigil is like historically a religious thing. There's a baptism, so my hands are stuck in a praying position on the Borg. And the Vigil doesn't end until I finish the Borg.
That's way better than doing like Centurion or something.
Yeah. It also means I won't have free hands until after drinking a full gallon of liquid, so that's probably going to suck.
It will. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
It's going to suck, but it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're definitely making me wish I could be there ever more. Like,
yeah. So,
you know what drink you're going to pick?
A 5-day long Amtgard event. That's all the way across the country.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You'll miss my canonization. I'm doing a saint for alt title. In all my theming,
Yeah, I'm not surprised one bit.
Yeah, so I'm doing Saint, and so we're putting on the schedule as the canonization of Saint Oso Barrington. That's what a sainting ceremony is called.
Cam says the best part of a Borg is your own vessel, and you have control over the amount of booze, and theoretically should not lead to poisoning. Theoretically.
Yeah. Theory. Yeah, well, that's part of why I took off in frat culture, because, like, you can't drug it.
Yeah.
You have your own gallon.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You have your own gallon, you can get blackout drunk and not be afraid that someone's going to roofie you.
That is a struggle. Wow.
Yeah, it's a struggle. I
guess I haven't done the college thing, so
no.
We don't really have much for frat stuff around here. We have one in town, but not a big culture around here. Sadly, by the sounds of it. Sounds like that's where all the cool games are.
A lot of cool drinking games get invented. Wizard Staff is a frat game, right?
Yeah.
Wizard Staff is a frat game that quickly made its way into LARP.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It fits. It's in theme.
Perfectly in the theme. How could it not have made its way?
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Wizard Staff at Palooza.
Well, I believe.
Sad news. I have to retire from Wizard Staff.
Whoa, why is that?
I just can't drink that much liquid anymore because of medication. My stomach isn't that big. So I can't compete. I might be able to make a wand.
You're an elder wizard now.
Get mini cans.
The retired archmage.
Yeah.
Malt liquor is pretty terrible, Cam. You're right, but it's also good. It's cheap and a lot of liquor or a lot of alcohol in it.
That is the silver lining.
I'm excited. I think that doing gallon hands will be able to get a lot more people to strap in with me because I had convinced Kimjin and Taliesin and Voden to play Edward 40 hands with me and strap in because that's part of it. It's just like, hey, why don't you suffer too? We can all play Edward 40.
all suffer together.
Yeah, and now that we're doing Borg is more liquid, but also isn't 80 ounces of malt liquor, so
Yeah.
is a lot more tolerable to a lot of people. So hopefully, I can get more people to strap in with me now.
Also, something people don't think about is lack of carbonation is
Yeah.
like great.
Yeah.
Yes. Carbonation is the end all be all. Like I've played many championships of like Centurion, and the thing that has killed me and most people haven't been the liquor but the carbonation. It's
Have you guys heard of a game called Power Hour?
RR?
Power Hour.
Oh, Power Hour.
So basically, a new song every minute, and you have to take a drink of beer every minute. So you have to take 60 drinks of beer within an hour.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much Centurion.
And it's terrible, but I played Edward 40 Hands at the same time as doing that because I hadn't played either game, and that was probably the most gut-wrenching experience. Just the carbonation was insanely like
grueling.
Yeah, grueling. That's a good word.
That's why we started using Twisted Teeth.
So yeah, I guess it is Centurion, but to music.
Yeah, to music, a little different. It gets chaotic and a lot of fun.
What is Centurion?
Don't events because people will die.
I'm also looking forward to pictures of the vigil with a bunch of people strapped into Borg gallons, duct taped to their hands. Especially because like a lot of people, like knights especially, take the vigil tradition and like the nightly advice very seriously, and I really like the idea of someone who does take that like very solemnly and seriously, giving me advice, and there being a picture of them hand on my shoulder just giving me their solemn advice while I have a gallon of liquor duct taped into my hands. That's just a great image for me. I'm hoping that picture exists after Palooza.
Imagine like Drake or Garth showing up.
Yeah, I think it would probably be Requiem for me.
That's stone full, like straight face.
Exactly, just like stone faced, just like yep. I'm ready, Chief. Put me in.
Strap me in. Let's go.
Strap me in.
Yeah.
Gosh, man.
So you would say this is more of a revelry than a.
I mean, I'll take the nightly advice and everything. Just like, I am not really like a center of attention kind of person, and making my vigil something that's kind of a party and an activity for me to do with my friends, it is ideal for me. And people are welcome to give me advice and everything. That's good. I understand like the way of the tradition. But I just prefer kind of having a lighthearted good time with the boys.
And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact,
I did. Yeah.
Sorry, Baelnorn.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a revelry. I didn't do the nightly advice thing. If they give me advice, I don't remember. There was a point where I got blackout drunk and I woke up because I was cooking a chicken at a food stand. And apparently at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I said chicken for everyone. So I just started grilling chicken, and I vaguely remember that. And there was a big mess in the morning when I got up. Just yeah. But I don't. The last thing of that I don't remember very well.
Actually, okay, so Baelnorn, because I don't know a ton about you, just out of curiosity, do you have a single knighthood, or are you multiple at this point?
Oh, it's just flame. I have a master crown. I'm close to a lot of paths, except for sword. But no, it's just the one belt.
Okay, just curiosity, because like I know like we've met multiple times in pathing, even as like far back as like my early days of joining Amtgard. I'm pretty sure it was you that was there for like an early SKBC back in like
I've been to all of the ones in the Northwest.
Yeah, and like it was super cool for me as like very much entering Amtgard. Or it was like you, Dastarus, and a handful of other people talking about the future of a principality at the time of
Oh
Stormhaven.
yeah.
I got to sit
I
in
completely
that for
forgot you
like
were there
this.
for that conversation.
It's because I wasn't talking. I was just there listening, trying to soak it all up.
I think I was king at the time or the BOD president. I don't remember which.
Yeah, one of the two. That would make sense. But yeah, okay. No,
No, that was a while ago. It took
yeah.
us some time to get your kingdom status.
It took time, but I think it was good that it took us time.
Yeah.
Like, we definitely needed to grow, and we're still growing, even now 4 years later.
Well,
So
sounds like you're doing pretty good.
we're trying, doing our best. It's definitely a unique perception that we have. Like, I've spent now time talking with, you know, many people outside of our Amtgard Kingdom area. So reaching out to people out in Polaris and, you know, further down stateside just to get perceptions on things. And, we're ever evolving because
That's a good
we
thing
have
to
this
do.
perception of like, here's, northern VO and southern VO, and we do have a border. And for example, my local park, we're pretty much in the middle of the kingdom, and the closest park to us is in our kingdom 6 hours away, basically.
That's
The other
far.
closest is in Vancouver with Northern Lights. But, so it's definitely created some interesting interactions of like, one from one corner of our kingdom to travel to the other, it's like 16 hours.
Yeah, that's wild. We our kingdom or Black Sparrow doesn't care to travel very much within our own kingdom. It's
Whatever.
pretty insular.
No, I definitely would love to come and visit you guys in Blackspire eventually, and also just see what it's like to hit every park in one day.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just think that's super rad.
Yeah, we added a new park, Iron Hills.
Ironhead Hills.
Ironhead
Okay.
Hills, and now our furthest park is 6 hours, where it was like you could go to the whole kingdom within like 2 hours. I think maybe three at the most.
City of Grodyne takes about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. I think that has to foster some amazing culture. Like I've heard.
I definitely a unique one because like Black Spire, I took in the rules rep committee. We talk a lot about like our kingdom cultures because it actually like is really relevant to like battle gaming metas and stuff like that. And Black Spire is an extremely unique culture because we're kind of like one mega park in a way because like we have monthly KLEs where basically everyone goes, and so we have really large games really often, which is pretty cool. And it's definitely like an everyone knows everybody kind of kingdom. If you're a Black Spire regular and you go to like one of our KLEs, you will probably just know everyone there.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's super cool. Like it's interesting because I've heard I talk with Black Spire people quite often because being parent kingdom to Verdant Outlands and then just traveling enough, right?
Yeah.
And hearing that you have parks that are more dedicated to stick and you have more parks that are dedicated to this, and like you can really just like go and ditch for a few hours in one park and then travel for battle games to another one if you want.
Yeah.
And that just seems so cool.
Yeah, that is true. That like because everything's so close, Sans Ironhead Hills. If you can feasibly like have any park in Blackspire as your home park, just kind of based on if you like that park's culture more, slash if that park is more interested in doing X, Y, and Z, your favorite Amtgard activity, you can feasibly make any park your home park, so long as you're within the general area where Black Spire is.
Right. Also, having monthly KLEs, like, that must be so cool.
There are ups and downs about it.
That's fair. It is a lot of stuff going on. Right?
So when I'm in a position right now where I'm the holder of our park, right? And our park is a duchy, but is not at duchy numbers right now. Is struggling, and the KLEs like that often and people traveling that often isn't amazing for growing parks because it's bad for consistency, and like something that is difficult about like the new player experience is getting the new players plugged in with the org like online on social media and whatnot. A lot of people don't have Facebook these days. Amtgard is kind of just now catching up with using Discord, and the if it creates an issue where if a new player isn't plugged into our stuff and isn't keeping informed, they might just show up to park and everyone's gone.
Yeah,
and it happens once a month. You know,
that is a huge downside. Yeah, I definitely didn't think of that perspective of like from the new player's sense of mind, right? Like I can definitely see how that would really struggle with retention.
Yeah.
Like the thing that keeps players is consistency, and now you lose that consistency.
Yeah, and and not to say there aren't upsides of it. It's really nice having big battle games really often. Like if you are a battle game sweaty, Blackspire is a great kingdom. We we're very meta driven. We have really competitive large battle games very often, much more often than most kingdoms do. But there are downsides too. So
believe it or not, there was a time where we had like every other week Kaylee's like 2 a month, and that was insane. I don't remember if I was the first or one of the first to like say we're cutting this down. We're not doing that anymore.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Why do we even have parks?
I know.
Yeah, that's why you should just be a super park that is just one.
Yeah, just one kingdom park at that point.
Right. Especially like I assume at least you guys had a floating crown at that point, so you're not just like always going to one park, right?
We did, yeah.
We are a floating crown, yeah.
Which thankfully that's just a thing that is less of an Amtgard problem anymore, anyways.
I think that Iron Mountains is the only static crown left.
Well, yeah, Burning Lands.
Oh yeah, is it Burning Lands one park?
I think so. I think that's some. Yeah.
Burning Lands doesn't count as a kingdom, yeah.
No, but they were the first.
They were the very first. They will be the last.
Yes. I believe that the park of the Iron Mountains is like in Denver or Boulder, one of the two. And you have to go to that park to be their monarch, which is really it's wild to me that that's still a thing there.
Right. It would make more sense for something like Blackspire where you have parks that are so close.
Yeah, it would probably be Silver Moon if it was static, I would guess, because we're in the middle and are technically the kingdom seat.
I think Iron Mountain's also like fairly spread out in some parts.
Yeah, Iron Mountains is pretty. They have some sidewinder parks. Yeah.
But so thankfully that's mostly not a thing in Amtgard anymore.
Yeah.
Especially with it, going ever further into the future that is online for majority of it, right?
And in Iron Mountains, you can run for Kingdom Monarchy on a ticket too.
Oh, okay.
So you as like the monarch run with a region to end a champion.
Yeah,
this is my team.
Rivermore does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think can be a good thing.
Yeah, in theory, that sounds kind of neat. Honestly,
from what I've heard, getting volunteers. That's hard sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. If you're struggling filling the positions, then it's not great. But if you're not and people are competitive, then I mean, in theory, it's kind of cool because you'll more likely get teams of people that work well together.
Yeah,
they get more people with better organization from the sounds of it.
Yeah,
they just finished the Star Wars reign, and it looked just super dope.
We're doing a Jackie Chan Adventures reign at Silver Moon right now. The most underrated early 2000s kids cartoon. Yeah, that show's gas, dude. It's great.
Grow up on that. It's so good.
It's so good. Louis 3D printed all of the talismans, and we revealed that it's actually because we've been advertising it as a Lunar New Year theme. because it's the Year of the Dragon, and it just got revealed today that it is actually a Jackie Chan Adventures theme when we took out the talismans.
Oh.
How'd that go
You
over?
do like big bad of the week.
Good. People either had no idea what it was or were psyched on it. But people that have watched the show generally really like it. You know,
I love the idea.
I don't think I like doing like a B-list property like that is kind of fun. Maybe I'll get to write a monster write-up for Jackie Chan, so that's cool.
Nice.
But it's archaeologist Jackie Chan from the Jackie Chan Adventures universe, not the actor. It's a different guy.
Of course.
Of course.
Still might have monk element, but
yeah.
It is 11 if you guys want to end, or we continue talking.
Yeah, up to you guys.
I
am loosely fading, but that's because I normally wake up at about 5:30 these days.
I don't know. You guys have any more topics you want to talk about?
I got lots of topics. I don't know which ones are always appropriate for this kind of a setting.
This show is pretty lax on topics. It's just nerd stuff in general, mainly LARP.
Oh.
It's pretty easy going.
My brain is very much on like culture of things. I spent my last year challenging topics within our game, so my brain is still there, like challenging crown rows and those different pathways.
Oh.
Currently challenging sword pretenses. So like, actually, here's a really good question for you guys, because you see the stuff in the things. How does your kingdom handle Order of the Crown?
Complicated question.
Yeah, it is. It's still very new, right?
I think Buzz is more in tune with the current Crown Award system than I am.
So I went from like 0 to Master Crown from conversion. So when Crown happened, we did conversions for people that were active on some chart, and people that have like histories of being in monarchy that like come back will then get converted on the same chart. We just didn't convert every single person because why would we waste time converting a bunch of people who are never going to come again? So that's how I went from 0 to Master, because I came back and then got converted with the chart and got given Master for it. So like I'm pretty sure if you look at my orc right now, it's like 1 through 10 crown all were like given on the same day. But I mean, I don't know. Other than that, you just kind of do offices and then get crowns. We haven't like really enforced an idea of like
I have to go feed cats.
Oh,
sorry. Rain just sent me a message. So I've got to go for an adventure. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, actually, maybe we'll end it here. Because I'm fading a little bit too.
Yeah.
So,
thank you,
Baelnorn. Thank both of you for being on here.
Yeah, this was fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love picking people's brains.
Yeah, I like talking about Hog and stuff.
We may have these friends of Baelnorn on again. I'm trying to do this every month, and so far I've succeeded this year. So hopefully I'll have another one in April. Hopefully I'll announce it more than 3 days before the actual day of next month. So go ahead and pay attention to the YouTubes and the Facebook page, and look out for the announcement. Thank you all for joining us.